All right, let's see what we got here. Let's do an audio check on this bad boy right here. What's going on, guys? What's going on, ladies and gents? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all you fine folks. Got in here a little bit late, but, you know, you got to do what you got to do. I get in here late, coming back from work, and I'm getting the thing all set up, and the computer just decides to freeze on me. I said, oh, fantastic. So, you know how that goes. Where we at? Here we are, in the fog. Oh. All right, that seems to be okay. Seems to be. Let me see. Yeah, man, I'm in the fog right here. Almost that issue Aurora Borealis. I'll get it right. Let me see. Why is this here? All right. So what's happening? What's going on? Oh, another long day of work, but that's fine. That works for me. I don't have a problem with that. Kind of a long day, but tiresome, because I don't know about you folks, but we've been, oh Lord, it feels like it's been about a month without seeing the sun. It's been raining on and off, and then when it's not raining, it's completely drizzle out. It's just a complete gray piece of trash of a day kind of thing, and you wonder why people get like this, almost like a cabin fever, even though you can be outside. It's still just this kind of gloomy kind of thing, but you know, you try to do the best you can. But I'd rather have it raining and kind of all kinds of weird inclement weather while you're working, as opposed to being on vacation or, you know, a day off from work. So I guess you can't really complain, right? So yeah. Anyway, everybody's in there. Let's see, Mr. Ricardo Bertrazzi. This thing's been going up, so I'm going to probably miss a few of you folks. So excuse me if I do. I'm sure I'll catch up to you on there on the list. I believe it's Jared, Long Island, New York. What's going on? What's up? Because I did see you on the Discord. So, yeah. Mimi Reacts, what's going on? Mr. Josh D's in there. He said, hi, Chris. Hope you're fine. Great there. Great there is a hangout. I'm sorry. Yeah, great there's a hangout. Yeah, I mean, you know, usually as a rule, I'll try to tell you guys if I know way ahead of time, there's just not going to be one, right? And sometimes it's last second and it sucks, I know. Because everybody's going, yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and all of a sudden, and God's nothing, you know? But it is what it is, you know? There's not much I can do about it. I try to give you guys a heads up if I can. I think, what was this, a couple hours maybe I gave you guys in advance? Hoping at least most of you folks would see it. Mr. Mike Knapp's in there. What's going on, Mike? Good to see you in there. Bomb Trees, what's going on? He said, hi, Chris. What's going on? Let me see, Richard Bunce in there. I'm walking Mindy. Okay. Renee V's in there. What's going on, Renee V? Daniel Lee's in there. Hi, good evening, Chris. Hope you had a great week. Hope everyone is all good. At Danny from Liverpool. What's going on, Danny? Yeah, we're doing pretty good. You know, it's always busy. You know, during the week it sucks. But it is what it is. As long as you stay busy, not too bad, right? Day goes by faster. It's better than just standing around, because I'd rather not do that. Usually when I do, I just go, yeah, looks like I'll leave work early, because there's no point in standing around. Got everything done. Let me see. Third Eye Open's in there. What's going on, Third Eye Open? Good to see you in there. Let me see. Bush Corey, what's going on there, Corey? Good to see you there. Gaz, what's happening? Says hi all. Cloakstorm says, what's up, y'all? What's going on, Cloakstorm? Let me see. Mr. Pete Ferrero's in there. What's going on, Pete? Said, hello, Chris and chat. Happy National Wing Day. Oh, wings. Rob Wong, what's going on? He said, I really hope he does something on the face of Mars in the future. I have, actually. I've done a video a while back. This goes back a few years. I may actually revisit that, though. So, in fact, no, actually, I've done one just... trying to remember if it was just recent. When I say recent, I mean like not last week. I mean recent within a year or two. But I know I have done one a while back, and the face is not what everybody thinks to a certain degree. I mean, you'd have to see what it is. There's much more to that area than meets the eye. You're talking about the Cydonia region. There's so much more there. But sometimes to put that elephant in the room, so to speak, and then you're just focusing on that one thing and not seeing the censored part of it and really looking into that. And that's where it becomes really interesting. Pretty cool. Alien Tenno, what's happening? Good to see you in there. Yep. I love it when it does that. Just takes off on me. Oh, and it jumped over a whole bunch of you too. Good to see you too, Third Eye Open. Good to see you there. Mr. Metalhead's in there. What's going on, Metalhead? So what's up, Chris? Oh, somebody's getting hot. I can see just like, just. Here's the thing. We've had days that are like super, what's the word I want to use? Soupy, so to speak. It's like the humidity's outrageous. I mean, it's not bad right now. It's like 69% humidity, 86 degrees Fahrenheit, but it's completely cloudy, and we might get maybe an hour's with the sun, and then it's right back to crap again, raining on and off, come down real heavy, and then it's just kind of just a, just a moderate rain, nothing special. It's just been crazy. It's just, can you just go away? I swear we're in May. Is anybody else having that issue, or is it just me? Is it just the middle of the country here? Valerian, the Mac 3, what's happening? A nice shirt. I appreciate that. Yeah, just, here's the thing. I don't know about you folks, but I have like two things. I have like two separate, like, so we'll call it wardrobe for short, but, just for shits and giggles. I've got work clothes and I've got out of work clothes. I refuse to be in work clothes and then crap clothes, good clothes and wear the nice ones to work and vice versa. Just don't want to do that. So, people go, oh my God, you got your pants dirty. Maybe I was lifting something in a job or whatever. And I go, it's work clothes. I could care less. I really don't. I get cheap clothes like the pants and stuff like that. You get them at the Wally World or something like that. And of course, you get your better clothes that are a lot better quality. So, yeah. Ricardo Petrozzi said, hey, Chris, foggy in your area. I've been watching the downhill biking from Snowshoe Mountain Resort, and it's crazy. Oh, I know. Isn't it wild? Terry G said, good evening from UK. What's going on, Terry? Good to see you in there. Equalizer's in there. What's going on, Equalizer? Observe a natural evolution. What's happening? Says, thumbs up, y'all. Or all, if you prefer, depending on who you're speaking to or how you're speaking to them. Josh Steve said, we could use the rain here. Drought too long. I know, it's crazy. Some people are going, we just haven't had enough rain, man. It's just, some of these dams are drying, and, these lakes near the dams are just drying up. I mean, it's crazy. Maybe he said we had a heat wave, but now it's raining. It helps to cool it off, but man, it just becomes so sticky. And anybody who lives in the Carolinas, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, I've lived in Myrtle Beach back in the 80s. Really nice. We're like 2 blocks away from the actual beach, We lived off of North Kings Highway. And, you were just thanking, please rain, 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 rain. No, you do not want to wish that. Because the second it rains, it's not only more humid, it's so, it's just, wow, it's just so thick, you almost cut it with a knife, it's so darn thick. And, it rains like crazy. It just comes down like in a sheet of rain, but it doesn't give you any relief. It literally just is, it's just worse. It just makes it a whole lot worse. And if you're down in the Carolinas, anywhere down there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Scotty, hi, saw. I think it's saw. Hi, saw. Correct me if I'm wrong. It says hello. What's going on, Scotty? Good to see you there. I'm in New York. Oh, Jared. James Webb images are not much better than Hubble. Actually, some of them are. They're pretty cool. He said, Chris, can you post a PayPal link, please? Yeah, it's just above, and it's pasted at the top of the chat, and I do appreciate it. But yeah, I mean, you've seen the comparisons with the James Webb, and you've seen the Hubble, and you can see like the quality is much sharper. Where there was blobs, now you can see galaxies, and where there was just like smaller, like darker blobs, you can actually see planets, right? So actually really cool. Mimi, so we can't fly because the big airports don't have enough personnel to take care of the suitcase. I know, isn't that? Remember before they were literally getting rid of everybody? Some people were saying, hey, they were telling some people to take early retirement. We don't need you. We're trying to cut back. Now that they are flying, let's say, well, they're trying to fly like full, right? Get all their routes filled and everything else, and they're trying to, get it all back to normal, so to speak. And guess what? Now they don't have enough personnel. Oh, they shot themselves in the foot. That was just stupid. Very open air show happening over my head, on my house. Might as well be over your head. I'll try to hear you. Yeah, I hear that, man. That's crazy. Scotty, you said love this channel. Well, I appreciate it. Pete, you said Vegas had a flood on the Strip, but has a water emergency due to pollution and streams due to, yeah. Isn't that nuts? It's like you either have enough water or you don't. Or you do get enough water, it's like, oh, by the way, you might have to boil that. It's nuts. John Smith says, good evening, Chris and chat. What's going on, John? Good to see you in there. Les Sweet's in there. He says, greetings, others. Oh, I hate it when it does that. It jumped on me again. Jean's in there. What's going on, John? Good to see you in there. Mr. Jean Ward's in the house. Yeah, Jean, I don't know if you, I was actually commented on your latest video, which was really good about the donut, by the way. And I actually invited you. It wasn't, what was it, about maybe 45 minutes or an hour before I started. And I said, get a hold of me on Skype if you want to. I think it's even still open. So you're more than welcome. You know that. Let me see. John McDonald says, New Zealand just got here a bit late. Hello to all. Ready to enjoy the chat. Well, good to have you on there, John. Phil Season, what's going on, Phil? Said, howdy, folks. Hope you're doing well, Phil. Tommy Wiley's in there as well. Said, hi, Chris. Hope you are well. I am actually pretty good, Tommy. I hope you're doing good. Good to see you in there, man. I know a lot of folks can't make it because they're like, I'd love to be there. Maybe they're working. Maybe they get a day off. Maybe, it depends on, they got everyday things they got to do when they get out of work. So when you are here, I do appreciate you, Jared, you said NASA says debris from a rocket may impact the United States this weekend, LOL, and a meteor shower. Interesting. Enrico Viglione, what's going on? He said, I got here as fast as I could. Made it. Puff, puff. Love it. Good to see you in here. Good to see you in there, brother. Elaine M., what's going on? Good to see you in there as well. I don't think I said hi to you yet. Mars the Second Genesis is in there as well. Good to see you in there. Bushcore, you said, anyone see that Tom DeLonge and Steve-O interview? Weird but interesting. No, I don't think I have. Was it just recent? Or was it something that was already up and you just happened to look at it? Yeah, we can do that, Jean. You said, thanks for the invite, Chris. I'm not staying for long, just popping in to say hi. How about next time? That's fine. Like I said, I'll try to get a hold of you a little sooner next time. Or if you just want to plan it for next Friday, just go put it on the calendar. But folks, if you haven't seen the last one Jean just did, it was what that looks like, that little funky looking donut shaped item. I'm not so sure. I don't know if is it flat? Do you think it's just round and flat, or do you think it's like a ball type thing just still buried in the ground, Jean? Because I was trying to you really can't see because you had the two pictures, and one was just slightly off, and I mean very slight as far as view of it from the rover. So I was kind of trying to think, is that thing like a ball and it has some kind of weird opening, or is it like basically flat like a donut, like you see like the side if you're looking at it from the sides? Is it just like that? What do you think? Do you think, Really interesting video. If you guys haven't seen it, go check out Jean Ward's channel and check out the video as well as many others he's got, and subscribe to his channel. You'll be glad you did. And like I said, he goes by Jean Ward, so pretty easy to find. Good stuff. But I thought when I looked at that donut type thing, I was like, that is just weird as heck. I'm going, because of the angle, you can't really see if it's buried or not, right? But what's the chances of something landing perfectly like that, or if it's a ball, that it would be actually that hole being facing up perfectly. So is it something that was going over by AI and it's actually some kind of mechanical part and they just made it look like a donut, a stone donut, if you will? Kind of weird, right? That was weird, John. I just saw your message that said it was there and then it went retracted. That is weird. I don't know how that happens, but it does. Oliver Klein, what's going on? Because of all the monkeys, okay. John Smith says, can we hit 50 likes, please? Yeah, we can do that. I'm sure they'll do that. Snaggletooth 1351. We are supposed to be having some meteor shower. That's what I heard, too. I didn't hear any more about it other than a meteor shower, so I was like, oh, interesting. Third Eye Open, you said that's the 23-ton rocket body from the China. Oh, exactly. Rocket that will fall to Earth. They don't know where. I heard about that too. Again, briefly, I didn't hear a whole lot about it. And folks, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I literally get up in the morning, go straight to work, come back. If I got the time, I'll try to knock out a video. Like I was supposed to have that other one out Monday. I think I told you guys I'd have it out Monday. I was this close to getting it out that evening, and I just couldn't get it completely finished. So I said, I'll just put it on Tuesday. I'm sure they'll understand. And so I was able to get that out. Figuratively speaking, says, long time sub viewer. I love your work, Chris. You are the #1 channel for anomaly hunting. Well, I appreciate that, figuratively speaking. I mean, there's a lot of good channels out there, and I won't deny that. There's some people doing some serious work. Just some of the anomalies, like I said, like Jean's doing. It's just crazy, some of the stuff you see in these things. And I'm glad he's taken to the ground photos now, too. Although a lot of people love the more satellite, but it's cool that he's doing that too. Because here's the thing, like I said, we can speculate as to what these things are, but still, you just look at this thing and it just stands out, again, it's anomalous. And you just look at it, you go, how is this shaped like this and compared to every other rock or stone throughout the whole area? Kind of weird, so you have to question it. Now, we may never know what it is. Even if it had some kind of weirdness like on it, like it could be a writing on it, wouldn't know that. Now, me personally, I'd burn the hell out of it. And I don't mean literally to the point where you can't see anything, but I just lightly go over it and see if there's anything like maybe some straight lines in it or some kind of shape or something other. Because when they do cover that stuff, and you've seen that grid on there, right, Jean, where it's got that weird pattern on there, so it kind of messes with the eyes so that you can't see detail, and that sucks. That's why you got to try to get rid of that if you can. But just on the whole, I mean, that thing is just crazy just the way it sits. I don't know why they took that out. It was, Jean Ward said, John Smith, it's on my channel. Please take a look. I'm not sure why it held that, but anyway, it's on there now. MG Toe, what's going on? Good to see you in there as well. Good one. MG Toe said there is no police around, so it could not be the donut, Chris. Good point. Good point. Mick Gustafsson, I'm sorry. I always want to say Ifson. Hi, Chris. Hi, everyone. And you guys are doing great. I appreciate it, Mick. Good to have you in there. Mr. Kyle Harvey, thank you for being here as well. He says, hello, guys. And he also says, sup, gang. Thank you for your support as always. Always continuing support of the channel. I do appreciate you, Kyle. And good to have you in there. Because I was going like this, usually you can see all the normal people in here, right? Just the normal round table folks, right? And I'm looking, I'm going, usually you can tell when somebody's not there, right? And you're like, I don't see a lot of people here. But they always filter in, that. Some people get in here later, some people get in here sooner, depending on their day, or what they got to get done. Family first, or life first, and then, then entertainment. We were just talking about, Rob, you said, speaking of which, Watch out for falling rocket debris from China. It'll probably just land on my lawn. It'll be all right. Adele Farisi, if I'm pronouncing that right, I hope so. He said, in the beyond, he said, I found 2 human faces on NGC 3132 after conversion of its image. See it on my flick. Oh, okay, interesting. I imagine it goes by your name, right? So they can look that up. Cool. Interesting. Mimi React says, Art Alien found the skull of a Martian. I think I've seen that. I didn't get to watch the whole thing, but yeah, Joe found some pretty interesting stuff lately. Paul Finchman, what's going on? Good to see you there. Cloakstorm said there's an agenda to keep this stuff hidden from, for some reason. You're right. You got that right. Matt Smart, a good one. He said, hi, Chris, the man who was clearly a hawk in previous life. No, actually, and I've said this a million times. Listen, I'm not doing anything special that you guys can't do. I'm really not. It just takes getting used to how they're messing with these photos. Like when I showed you in the last video, you can see the intentional blur. Now, if you don't do anything to the photo and you just leave it the pukey color, don't enhance it whatsoever, you would overlook that blur, the intentional blur, and you just would not see it. Because people are looking at it from a distance. Like if I was to just take this photo here and I just zoom it out, well, okay, and if I zoom way in, you can actually see the, you know, the framing of this dish and everything else, and so on and so forth. And you can see the tower back here. But if I was, you know, so all it is basically just get rid of the pukey color, add a little contrast, and suddenly all of that intentional blur sticks out. Now, somebody said that it could be water, and that's why it looks blurry. No, you can actually see they go straight up and go around and the rock itself and go up and go around. It's actually intentional blurring. Either they're drawing it in and then they're just filling it in with a blur, which seems like what they're doing. And it's a couple of you folks that are in digital photography also echoed the same thing, saying, yes, absolutely. So, yeah. Yeah, Jean, you said, I have to blur the photo slightly to get rid of the grid. Real pity. Yeah, I know. Because you want to get out the details, but how do you shop in something that's got a grid on it? It just makes it worse. So, yeah, I feel you. And it sucks. It's kind of, you're like, oh, it's counterproductive because, again, you want to get out the clearest picture you can, but with the grid over it just doesn't help. Matt Smart, you said, I'm a long-time lurker. Oh, okay. It's good to have you here anyway. Matt, cool. I like the eyes, the lurker. That's why you said I work in VFX. You see more than I do. I'm not sure I'm sure it's a software, right? The VFX. Sounds like I heard of that, but I'm not sure. Not sure where that was taken out either. And like I said, it's not. Listen, like I said, I have eagle eyes because I've been studying these photos. And a lot of people, you've said this yourselves, you're saying, man, I'm getting acclimated now. I can literally see this blur without even doing any of my enhancements. You can literally see it now. And that's the whole idea of the channel, to get you to go, what is that? And can I bring out more of that and see what, either fakery, if you want to call it that, censoring. What kind of censoring is it? Is it fake digitalization they're putting on there? Is it fake compression artifact grid, which I've seen that a million times? So it makes it look like, oh, it's because the quality's so bad. But a lot of these photos are good size, right? And then, of course, you can blow them up in Photoshop, and you can really bring this stuff out. And like I said, just got to get rid of the pukey color because it seems to blend well. At least that particular color does. And once you get rid of that color, suddenly you can see the imperfections of the photo. And that's the key. Add a little contrast, and you can really see this stuff where it's been faked out. And you're not going to tell me a camera's going to go, hey, look, like we're looking at this main dish right here in this photo. Oh, yeah, this looks really good. Like if there was something on the right-hand side of this on the top, suddenly that whole area is completely blurred out. Well, let's say a hypothetical. Well, there was a large UFO on the corner. It was in the distance, but they blocked it out. Okay, that's the only reason why it should be blurred. A camera's not going to just go, I'm just going to get, maybe, selective about a blurred area. Unless, of course, there's something on the lens. That makes sense. Other than that, No. Daniel says NASA must have so much stuff, stuff they don't tell. Oh, I guarantee it. Just by some of the stuff we've seen, it's just, a lot of cool stuff. John Smith, he said, I bet once your eye is in the blurs, jump right out at you. Yes, pretty much. Like I said, you just have to get rid of the color. First of all, you need to zoom. And then, like I said, once I return that photo back, or you do it yourself, to the natural color, quote unquote, and then go back to the orangey, pukey looking color over there, suddenly you can see the blur. You can't unsee it. It's there. But if you were to just glance at the photo and go, that's great, nice landscape, and off you go. You don't put another thought into it. That's the problem with most people. That was the problem with me. I did the same thing. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. I went, well, wait a minute. Let me see something. Like I said, I had an old friend of mine, Peter, he would actually help me out. And like I said, he was in lithographics for like 11 years, 12 years, and pretty much an expert in his own right. And he showed me how to get into the raw plates of the photos and everything else. I'm like, good God, what a helpful tool to do that, because then all of a sudden a lot of this will pop and you can see exactly what they're doing to these photos. Long Island, New York says, smash the like button, folks. I say slap it good. Terry G, good question. He said, what year do you think man will land on Mars? It's really weird. They haven't, it's like a space race now. It's all over again, like we're going to the moon. It's the same thing. One of them says, oh, it's going to be, 2034. The other one says it's going to be a lot sooner. This space agency claims they're going to do it even sooner than them. It's just like, you know what? I don't think there's going to be anything definitive. Now, some of them are saying 2034. Some of them were saying, I think it was late 20s, 2000s rather. It'd be like, 2025, 2028. It's just weird. Just when you think you heard something was definitive, it's not. Oh, it's been pushed back. Kind of like the James Webb Telescope. Remember that? When did they start putting that thing together? 2019? 2020? Something like that? You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. But I just thought that was really wild. I'm going, what the hell? Every time that thing was going to be launched, it got held back again. Got held back again. My Society says, why has DeLong referred to UFOs as threats? You're not the only one to ask this. The funny part about it is that I don't think they are. I've always said that they're not. There's a lot of these people claiming they're supposed to be UFO experts, right? Maybe they were in the military at one time. Oh, they're threats, they're threats. They've been around for years upon years upon years. Why would they not just want to blast our ass backwards in time, meaning so that we, every time we're getting more technologically advanced, EMP us? How about just nuke a couple of these areas so it sets us back technologically? But they don't. And they've been around for years. So they don't consider us a threat. And clearly, if they were a threat, they've already presented themselves as a threat. And they have not. The only thing they've ever done was maybe shut down missile silos. That's it. If they really wanted to, they could have just, like, here's the base, if you're looking at it from the satellite, and they could have just blew this place up and made a giant crater out of it. And yet they did not. So this is the reason why I don't believe that they're hostile in any way. And I don't believe that BS that they're trying to push, this agenda about, oh my God, I agree to a certain degree when they say that it's a problem when they're in our airspace. You got like public airlines, they're flying around, this thing hits one, well, then it's a problem. And then, of course, the military believes if they're going to be over our military bases looking at us, then that's an issue. But do they think it's from out there, or do they think it's another country, and this is the reason why they're on alert? I don't know. But if they're from out there, I don't agree. I really don't. I think there's, like I said, they're just trying to push this, or they're just trying to pump up this propaganda, and it's just a bunch of crap. I think so. If it's another country on this planet, that's a problem. Then you should be worried, because it's literally on this planet and they have an agenda. It's as simple as that. They're going to show their superiority with their technology, and yet they could be a major threat. That I get. From out there, it's already been happening for thousands of years. They would have done it a long time ago. What do you folks think about that? You think I I'm wrong? Do you have a different opinion? I want to hear what you guys got to say. Gene Borsia, what's going on? We all need to start looking into it. Yeah, there's quite a bit. I think a lot of people, if they just start looking at this stuff themselves, they're going to be like, wow, this is just cool. I don't care if it's got to do with the photos, UFO sightings. And again, most of these UFO sightings, guys, come on. Again, we talked about this. It's a night vision, infrared. You never see a real daytime photo. It looks like this, and you see like a UFO, like a dot way off in the background. Oh my God, it's a UFO. How do we know that? It's always complete crap. It's always a photo that's crap. Ali Khan, you said they hide in the clouds, and that's a good possibility, because people have seen these things either cloaked coming out of a cloud, meaning they start to show up, or they're literally in the cloud. I don't know if that's always the case, and a lot of times we can't see it because it's through another light spectrum, whether it be infrared or whatever, so you have to use a camera or some kind of lens that has infrared. So I get that, but sometimes you just don't see it with your eye because it's in a different light spectrum. Kyle, you said most people look at the photo and say on Mars is desolate, and then they never look again. Exactly. They just kind of peruse over them. They're like, oh, wow, that's so cool. I'm trying to remember if this is a video or not, but some people are going, you know what? One person said this, and this was kind of funny. Well, not funny, but cool at the same time. I said, yeah, I'm just laying back in bed, and I'm looking at all these cool photos. This was from another video. And I'm just at awe that we're looking at another planet. If they only knew, and they're right about that, and I agree with them, but if they knew there was so much more to these photos, they'd be blown away. It wouldn't just be cool or neat. It'd be like a holy crap moment, right? They'd be looking and go, what? These things were in these photos? Are you serious? And I still get these people asking me, if they didn't want anybody to see this, why show the photos at all? And like I've explained a million times, they have to answer to somebody. Somebody's giving them the money, whether it be Congress, whoever it is. They're giving this money. They're funding NASA to do these things. So they want to see results. So they go, that's fine. We don't have an issue with that. We'll go ahead and censor them. So we'll give you all the photos you want. We'll just censor the hell out of them. What's the quickest way to do this? Now it's a fast turnover as far as giving the sun, when the photos come from Mars to the Deep Space Network, to them, to the CGI department. Now it's quick. Now it's done by computer. It seems like it's even faster, so it's quicker turnover times. So they can download a bunch more photos and then give them to the public that much faster. But it makes mistakes. That's the cool part. Alien Tanner, you said if aliens really were nefarious, we wouldn't be talking to each other right now. Exactly my point. Listen, if they have this kind of power, yeah, I mean, we'd be knocked into the dark ages right now. It's just, because they'd be like, okay, these parasites, whoever they are, these beings on this planet, we need to eradicate them before they get too big for their britches, because clearly they can see as we're progressing, if you want to call it that at times. Seems like we're going backwards in progression, but, then they would have done something a long time ago, don't you think? I think so. JWST said most military and Congress people in this say it's not Russia or China or someone else. It's somebody. I believe it's somebody that's on this planet because, like I said, we would have seen these things flying around a long, long time ago. And I don't mean just up in the sky. You see how this thing's zigzagging. You never see anything about, like the Tic Tac UFO. You don't see any videos of something going. Now, you have, if you looked at Area 51 videos, where you see something go like this, kind of moves down, then it moves over, then it does a zigzag. That's true. But this is years ago. Now we get something that's like literally, it's like 5 times, 10 times faster, a lot smaller. And yet it can do the maneuvers it does. So is it from otherworldly or is it from us? I'm on the fence, but I'm more leaning towards us. Kenneth, what's happening? You said every star may be a sun to someone. Hello from Denmark. Good to see you there, Kenneth, and you're right. see. Helicon dimensions. We're in the third. I'm in the fifth. Like, woo! Neil Picard says it's their planet. We are prisoners. You know, like I said, I mean, some people say, well, we're nothing more than a giant ant farm. We were actually put here, and that we're under observation to see how we actually, you know, advance. Some people say we're living in a simulation. Is that a possibility? Sure. We don't know. On a higher level, we don't know. Do we know that for sure? No. But, you know, it is pretty interesting to think about that, though. My society says we are monkeys with iPhones and nukes. I would fear us. It depends on how you look at it. If you're thousands upon thousands of years advanced to us, our little, you know, our little nukes are like little firecrackers. You go, oh, look how cute. They built these little tiny bombs. I mean, they could devastate the planet if they lit off enough of them, but how cute. I mean, you know, you'd be like, oh my God, remember we used to build those like millions of years ago? That's sad. They're getting there, though. Mimi Rat, good question, because I know we were hinting around UFOs and clouds. You said, I wonder how many UFOs disguise themselves as clouds. That's a great question. It could be right there and you never know it was there. Unless, of course, you have equipment to detect something in the air. So in other words, if you had some kind of parabolic dish that was had a radio receiver and it can actually detect certain energies, maybe you'll find out. Enrico says, hiding in clouds like the Close Encounters of Third Kind movie. And you see the way they just kind of like just broke through it? Pretty cool. Did he really, Kyle? He said, MUFON just emailed me. That's cool. You were thinking the same thing, Ricardo. Alien Ant Farm. If you're talking about that song. Smooth Criminal. Great for all. What's happening? Good to see you in there. He said, apparently most of our DNA is turned off and active for some reason. I've heard about that, yeah, the junk DNA. And that, yeah, it's like our brain mass. We're like not using, you know, all of our brain either, because we'd probably be like superhuman kind of thing. Well, at least very intelligent, right? So, pretty cool. JWST said the general opinion is that most of them come out of our oceans, which, yeah, I would agree. I mean, because like I said, how do we know that these civilizations aren't underwater to begin with and been there for thousands of years? And this is the reason why, like Christopher Columbus supposedly seen something come up out of the water. There's been other accounts that seen things come out of the water and go into it and just like, and they have no problem going through it at such speeds because again, if you're building this kind of force field, you know, like a bubble around you, you have no friction, so you can literally go right through this thing. So, really, really cool. Oh, I see what you're saying, Gene. He said, Chris, what I'm saying is we need to grab the data signals from Mars ourselves. Just wondering, would that be a bad move? Probably. Something about maybe disappearing off the planet. Well, in a sense, you would literally have to have, like, 'cause some of these satellite dishes are huge, right? Like the Deep Space Network, I think they're like, I forget how big these things are. They're like 100 foot across, which is not super large, but some of them are even bigger. And to intercept them kind of signals, you definitely have to decrypt it. And who knows if it's kind of like, I don't know if you guys remember, but like a regular cordless phone. Like when I had the 6 gig phone, it literally had a spread spectrum. So it literally bounced from frequency to frequency as you talked. So even if you had a scanner, which I had one from the UK, it was a Trident from the UK, and this thing could get everything. I mean, it was literally up to 2 gigs, I think it was. And I could listen to cell phones, cordless phones. I could listen to just about any government. Nothing was blocked. And if you could do that, that'd be one thing. You'd be able to hear parts of it. And if you had a video decipherer, you could do that too. But you know what? the chance of doing that. So it's probably encrypted and sent here, and then it decrypts it, and then it's probably overlaid with a an AI to begin with from the rover. So now you got a layer of crap. You have to have the right software to strip that off there, and then you have to be able to decrypt that signal to begin with. So yeah, it's almost futile. And if you could do that, and keep in mind you only have a receiver, nobody would be able to know it, because you're literally, it's like saying I could detect somebody having an FM stereo in their house. How the hell would you be able to do that? Now some electronics give off like a weird frequency or some kind of weird, depending on whatever the make is and if it's cheap or whatever. But yeah, I mean, yeah, you can get into a whole lot of technological crap about that. But yeah, if you could do that, it'd be fantastic. Let me see. This thing jumped big time. Anyway, I was just going to say, again, Kyle, thank you for your contributions. As always, you're awesome. And you just said, MUFON just emailed me. So you sent them a video, right? Because you said something about it was glowing and everything else, and they actually got back to you? That's pretty sweet. Rico says, the aliens use nukes for celebrations. Yeah, just like, well, I mean, again, if you were so far advanced, maybe your civilization was where we're at now, probably thousands and thousands of years ago, and you're just going, guys, he's on the galactic time or clock. They're way behind. I mean, they got a long way to catch up. Okay, Kyle, you said I have a couple of videos on my phone that I took of some anomalies. That's cool. Jared, you said somebody said years ago that they had proof CIA infiltrates MUFON and SETI. Well, you've got the DoD that actually they're affiliated or into and seeing what NASA puts out. As far as these photos coming from Mars to there, they're in that too. Surprise, surprise, right? No, I'm not surprised in the least bit, because here's the thing. I believe they're the puppet masters, and they're the ones pulling the strings saying, guys, I need these things completely washed. I don't need anybody to see anything. And yet we can still actually see this stuff. So, but how many people do you know that actually do that? Like, we pull these photos apart. You may have people showing all of these cool anomalies, but to literally get into the photo and try to get deeper into it, I don't know too many people that are doing that. They do enhance, which is fantastic, but not really getting super into these photos. Some of them, you could try as you please, but you're just not going to get into it, right? Pat Owen, what's happening? Hi, Chris. Hi, friends in chat. Happy Friday. Oh, same to you there, Pat. Good to see you in there. Cloakstorm, he said, there's a theory that the aliens are just humans from the future. I've heard that story too. I don't know if I buy it or not. Is it a possibility? I guess there could be. I don't think I'd rule it out, although I'm not going to say for sure. Yeah, I totally agree. There's always that possibility, because we really don't know what our government knows. I mean, they're so far advanced. I mean, and they just jump by leaps and bounds. Like I said, you look at just our own consumer stuff that we have. Look at the average watch. I mean, like I said, I remember back in the 80s, there was a TV set my buddy had. It was on his wrist. Of course, you'd have to have like a cord that comes out. It went into like, almost looked like a headphone radio, right? It would go into that as far as sound-wise. It would amplify it, and you'd have headphones. You could sit there and watch a ball game. Although I don't think I want to try to find the ball going. If you hit it out in right field, that'd be a little difficult. You'd be sitting there with a magnifier, right? But still, back then they had that. So, but if they can do that, they're going to just push the envelope constantly. I don't care what it is. Technologically advancement, man. Just keep going, keep going. You don't know what they're capable of now. California proletarian says, hey buddy, hope you're well. All the best from Mount Shasta, California, Sasquatch country. I guess it's supposed to be county, I think he said. Yeah, what's going on, man? Good to see you in there. How's the weather over there, by the way, in Cali? I'm not really sure. There's many. A lot of people have different ideas about what orbs are, right? As Ali Khan, you said, Chris, do you know what orbs are? I do. They watch over us. See, I'm not sure of that, but I have seen many photos. In fact, I've taken photos in the past, just regular family photos, and it's just that weirdness. You just happen to be like a certain, brightness in the photo. Like it could be bright on this side, but a little bit darker over there. And somehow you see an orb. Now you can't confuse that with a lens flare, right? Because if you got a light kind of shining off a certain thing, and you get this, but you can see literally orbs flying around, and I don't mean literally, because if you're just taking a still photo, but you can see them sometimes. You're just like, man, that's crazy. I didn't see that before. I mean, the person taking the photo didn't even see it, but yet it's in there. So pretty cool. I did, New Yorker. By the way, good to see you in there. You said tether snaps in space and UFO flying around it. Did you see that? Yeah, it's a 100-foot tether, right? So this thing kind of like, it's completely stretched out, meaning it's in its full length. It just starts just going off into space, and you see all of these, what look like UFOs and unidentified flying objects. And there was one that looked like it was like 300 feet across or something like this, incredibly large. It's just weird stuff. You can see it going under the tether as well. So you knew that that wasn't like a piece of dust going by the camera lens because it was under that. So yeah, I do remember that. It's really, really good video too, by the way. Alien Tenno, just imagine if we were, we're really a giant experiment. Man, we're gonna get pissed about that. Well, pretty much. I mean, but then you got to ask yourself, but why? I get the idea of somebody, if there's a lot of ancient civilizations that put us here, which seems to be this thing. If you go by ancient stories and stuff like that, how our DNA was manipulated to make us who we are today. And I don't have a problem with them looking over us. They're going, oh, okay, but yeah, you still feel like an experiment, like I said, like some kind of weird ant farm thing. But yet we're humans and they've changed our genetics. So is that a good thing or a bad thing? Pat says, be right back. Got to take my son to work. No problem, Pat. We'll see you in a little bit. Observe natural evolution say they are hydro homies. There you go. Oh, man. Nope. I didn't see. I've only heard 100 feet there, John. I don't know what you've heard. But that seems to be the actual size. But still, let's say it was longer. I mean, really, it was only so wide, and yet you can see that large UFO underneath it. And literally, you can see, like, this thing was like this. All you see is that tether. That's crazy how big that thing was. Because even if it was like 500 feet long, it's the width of the actual tether what really gets you, because you can see this thing literally going right underneath it. Really crazy. Lisa Potter, how you been? Good to see you in there. He said, CERN is an alien tech, and they are screwing with our time continuum and opening up portals for beings to pass through. That may be a possibility. It's kind of like the movie The Mist, which I thought was really interesting. At first, like I said, I wasn't going to watch it because, like I said, my daughter, she had watched this thing, and I think I said this before. That's why I said, like I said before, is because she watched, well, she said her friends watched it. She said, oh, it was crap. And I said, really? I heard it was a really good movie. I watched it with her, and we loved it. Why? Because they didn't understand it. How they were opening up portals to another dimension, a much different dimension, and of course these things came through. So the experiment, it either failed or it was achieved, and they got the results they wanted. But yet, yeah, you see how what came out of it if you watched the movie The Mist. Really, really good movie. But the military was up on this mountain, and they were screwing with this stuff. And there's all these weird insects and kind of weird creatures and just wild stuff came through this other dimension. So really, really cool. So is it a possibility what you're saying is true? Yes. Again, we don't know. I mean, we can speculate because we really don't know for sure, right? But we do know that they got technology that's just unreal. And I'm sure they're taking precautions, because how do they know what to expect if this is all new territory for them, right? So I don't know. What's going on there, Andy Hughes? Good to see you in there. You said, I think orbs are alien cameras spying on us. What happens if they're just little beings? Wouldn't that be crazy? Can you imagine like little aliens and little spherical spaceships? That would be pretty funky, wouldn't it? They're like this big. How big would the alien have to be? But crazy, right? Kyle, you said, I've watched multiple videos about the tether. So haven't I. It's just really cool. I'm not sure what... Mimi, because you said, Chris, you mean the probe that was swallowed by the big craft? No, what we're talking about is that big tether that had come off, I think it was the STS mission. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. But it is, from what I heard, it was like 100 feet in width, and I forget, I'm sorry, in length. And I don't remember what it was in width. I know it was pretty large as well. But this UFO literally goes under. There's a bunch of little ones going above and below it, but this big one, literally you can just see it kind of going, and the tether's like this thin, and this thing just goes right underneath it. Really, really crazy. Alien Tenny said Black Knight satellite just made its 10 trillion flyby orbit of Earth. I haven't heard about that as far as how many times it's been around, but I think it was actually pretty crazy. That alone, that Black Knight. What's going on there, Limey Watcher? Good to see you in there. Hi, Chris and all. Good to see you there, man. Steve Garnham, did you jump in there earlier? I didn't see you, but anyway, good to see you there, Steve. Kent Racer, you said the tether incident looks like it's in water. I guess in a sense you could view it like that, because there's no really way of knowing that. But I mean, it is space, but it could kind of give you that weird illusion. Oh, okay, Mimi, you're talking about the one that was drawing plasma off the sun, because you're saying just look at the huge crafts close to the sun. I mean, remember they had that really large one, and it's supposed to be. Some people, technically they say it was a plasma ball and everything else, and it just kind of broke loose after it just got so large. And then some of them were saying, no, it's just like a spherical spacecraft, and it was just drawing off the sun. Then it just took off. That was really funky, regardless of what it was, right? Oh, thank you, Ricardo. Yeah, I knew it was the STS. I just wasn't sure if it was a 75 or which one exactly when it was. Whitebeard Sky Daddy, what's going on? Good to have you in there, man. So I read every comment. The people who make an appearance here are a good cross-section of different demos. Are we talking about scale? Yeah, pretty much. Yep. Mr. James Cragen's in there. Says, I'm talking about looking at the Mars Genesis. Mars the second Genesis. That's pretty cool. Good to see you in there, man. Oop, they just jumped on me again. I love that. Here we go. Rashomir Jones, what's happening? Good to see you in there. So NASA was calling the UFOs critters when the tether got loose. Yeah, because they want to call it something totally different, right? You go, why would there be critters out in space? Think about that. And they're quite large. That's not a critter I want to run into. Samo Gufonian, a rock star. What's good? What's going on, man? Good to see you in there. And what's good? Good question. Yeah, good to have you in there, man. Catmandu, what's going on? You say, hi, Chris. You always have the coolest wallpaper pictures. Yeah, I think these are pretty sweet. You know, it just had that spacey feeling. Love it. And are you guys like me? It's like if you could literally just like, if they put like electrodes on your brain and you just literally cut all this science information and all these cool photos, everything to do with science, but just kind of bombard the brain, you'd be like, ah, it's like a good high. You're just like, this is good shit. You know, it would be pretty cool, wouldn't it? I love it. They did actually see that, well, supposedly at one time, Lisa, and you're right, you said the Black Knight sometimes leaves orbit and goes to the moon, where they've seen that, where it looks like it was literally orbiting the moon at one time, right? And I don't remember who said that at one time, but that seems to be what they said was going on. It would like go back and forth, right? Oh, let's see. Whitebeard Sky Daddy, he said there was a large moon-like thing up close on Earth back in early spring. Mr. MBB featured Mary Hall's data on it. It was freakish with large mountain ranges. Huh. Pretty interesting. Lionheart Glassworks, what's going on? Good to see you in there, man. Hope everyone is having a great night. I am. We're actually all just chilling now. Family's all here, just chilling. Gotta love it. Let me see. I'm probably not even going to say this right. Oyster Jamix, whatever. I'm not sure, but we can just call you Oyster for short if that's okay. When our pets will understand agricultural medicine and such, then maybe we will understand aliens in the same extent. To the same extent, I'm sorry. Interesting. One drink. He said, your question was, do you follow Billy Carson and his work? He's a good friend of mine. We haven't hung out in a while, but it's been a while since we have. He's been on here. I've had interviews with him and stuff like that. And, you know, I've got to catch up to him again because he's always busy. He's always constantly bouncing all over the earth, so to speak. He's always flying here, and there. So, yeah, I got to definitely try to get him back on. Of course, it'd be almost insane trying to get him back on, but just to have him come by and visit and see what's going on, you know. See what he's up to lately. Last time I checked, he was in Egypt. So you go, man, it must be nice because I got this on my bucket list and I can't get there. So someday, maybe. Where does this thing jump from? Okay, let me just go down to here then. I'm not sure why they blocked that out either. That's weird. Mars the Second Genesis. You said I was seriously traumatized last week. I saw a picture of Nancy Pelosi flashing a... Oh my God. Still having nightmares. That's enough to give anybody nightmares. Regiment Jones, you said Dr. Delbert Blair, who worked at NASA, talks about the Galactic Federation versus, or I guess it's versus the Leveron Federation. I don't think I've ever heard of that. Paul Finchman, he said the theme reminds me of the movie Contact, doesn't it? Pretty cool stuff. James Gregan, thank you very much, sir, for your support. As always a continuing support of the channel. You're awesome. So, Chris, about the tether incident, there's a great interview with a former NASA worker on CCD. Oh, okay. About how NASA went mad at, was shown live on Airman. You know as well as I do, they don't want anybody to see stuff like that. It's kind of like that one when they had, and I think it was from the ISS, where, remember they were looking off, it's like they were looking off to the right, and you can see, of course, the planet Earth, and you can see something going like this coming into the atmosphere towards Earth. Then you see this flash on the planet Earth, and you see this thing take off, does like a total turnaround, and you see this thing like a missile come straight out of the planet Earth, and just nearly missing this thing. They say, of course, it was ice crystals or particles coming from one of the thrusters. I went, okay, let me get this right. So I'm seeing it on Earth, but it's a thruster on the ISS. Gotcha. So they just want to just easily dismiss these kind of videos, and I don't blame them because they're trying to hide this stuff. But I'm glad the stuff has made it out, because then people know better, right? Again, James, thank you very much. Appreciate you, man. William Kennedy said, I see that China is still covering it up like NASA. Yep. They're no better. Kyle, you said it's hard to keep up with everybody's chat. You guys slow down. Oh no, speed it up. Let me see here if I can. No, okay. All right, let's jump into some of this. Got some cool stories. And I don't know if you guys have seen this, but not that. But let's get rid of that. Now, this is pretty cool. Scientists spot alien worlds in remote area of the Milky Way. Now, they don't really mean alien per se. Let me just shrink myself here so we're not in the way of the actual story. And if you go down here, according to NASA, our Milky Way contains at least 100 billion planets. According to other estimates, there may be 100 to 200 billion planets in the Milky Way galaxy, right? Tel Aviv, well, I'm going to make it bigger so you guys may be able to see this. Tel Aviv University researchers have discovered 2 new planets in some of the Milky Way galaxy's most remote solar systems. Using the Gaia spacecraft and teams from the European Space Agency, or ESA, they discovered the giant planets dubbed Gaia 1b and Gaia 2b. 2b or not 2b, that is the planet. Gaia's first successful detection of a new planet marks a significant milestone for the spacecraft. In comparison with a standing on Earth and identifying a nickel on the moon, Gaia is a star surveying satellite with a mission to map the Milky Way in 3D. That's going to be pretty interesting. That would be cool. I think they were talking about Tel Aviv University, so that's why they call it TAWS, or TAWS. Professor Shay Zucker, the doctoral student, Aviad Panay, led the initiative. Okay. I love all these funky names. Professional Zucker said the discovery of the 2 new planets has been made through precise searches using AI methods. Gaia detected a further 40 candidates. The astronomical community must examine their data to establish their planetary nature, as scientists did for the first 2 candidates. So, yeah, you need a newsletter. You can go ahead and sign up for that. Due to the size of proximity to their host stars, the 2 new planets are known as hot Jupiters. So, you know, listen, and they want to you guys see this? It's going to be a bigger James Webb. I don't know if you guys seen it. It's going to be like 3 times the size of this thing. I'm like, listen, and you guys know this. This thing costs, I forget, what was it, what were they spending this? Ricardo, you may know that. How much did they spend on that James Webb? It's insane, the amount. I think it was like, I forget what it was. The thing was astronomical. Now they want to build another one. Why do you suppose they want to build one bigger? Because maybe some of the things that they're seeing at these stars, or in these galaxies, or near the galaxies, they're at the max power of this James Webb, and they just can't see it. We think it might be a Dyson sphere. We think it may be. They're not entirely sure, but they see something weird out in this universe, and they're trying to see it clearer and better. They can't do it. What's the first thing to do? Okay, let's go. Let's make a bigger one. I mean, the thing's been out for how long? They already want to make another one. So you can bet they've already have backup parts for it, or they already know the parts that they've built for this thing. So all they can do is just say, okay, make every part that's on this one here. Of course, we're going to make the collector, so to speak, the dish itself, much larger, much more powerful, different wavelengths, so on and so forth. We want to see really the depth of this universe, and we want to see what that particular object is, or those objects near these stars, what they truly are. It's kind of like when they started off with the rovers on Mars. First we had landers, right? Then we went in 1997, we had the Sojourner rover with the lander. Well, wait a minute, we got to go bigger. This thing didn't quite make it, it's too small. Okay, so get the Spirit up there, the Opportunity rovers in 2004. They did pretty well. One of them got phased out because basically it got stuck, and the other one, there was a dust storm and they couldn't get this thing to recharge its batteries, and supposedly they both died. Okay, we'll go with that. Oh, wait a minute, we need something bigger now. Instead of building the same size, let's go bigger. 2012, we've got the Curiosity rover. Now in 2020, we got the Perseverance. They're getting bigger, smarter. It just, they're all pretty much autonomous, but much more detailed, much better equipment, and they're just constantly changing the technology on these things. It's no different. If you see something out there, oh my God, this is exciting. Let's build something much bigger. We'll really be able to see this. When does it stop? Think about it. Man, it's going to be crazy. But you can see this. Gaia tracks the location of nearly 2 billion suns, the stars at the center of the solar system in our galaxy, tracking their positions with 1 millionth degree precision as it rotates around its axis. So you can see this thing is pretty crazy, right? It's pretty neat. Technology is enormous, guys. It's just crazy, right? Just really, really cool stuff. Actually, Jared, you said the Moonfall was a good movie, and I said, nope, sucked. I thought it was really, really good. And what they did was they took everything that was conspiracy theory and threw it into that movie. If you think about it, everything you ever heard about the moon, basically almost like a Dyson sphere, right? They're saying that these things live in the moon. It's artificial. Well, there you go. The idea of this thing they're finding out about, and they kind of triggered this thing, and it's a really good movie. I don't want to give it away if somebody hasn't seen it yet. Really, really cool movie. I thought it was actually pretty good considering. Kyle, thank you again, sir, for your support. He said, James Webb, 9 billion, 5 times more than it was supposed to be. Well, that's what I'm saying, right? Because they had it was 2 years prior to them actually sending it out. It was supposed to be out. Well, wait a minute. They must have said, no, we got a glitch. Let's change this component over. Wait a minute. We got more technology. We can make this particular component much more sensitive. Wait a minute. Why don't we update it to this? I mean, it's just crazy, right? So the amount of money tossed into this thing, you got to remember they built this thing, I wouldn't say from scratch, because they probably got a lot of these component ideas from the Hubble. Of course, it makes the Hubble look like crap as far as resolution and the technology that it has. Now they want to make this thing, it's I forget what it was, it's 3 times bigger. They want to make this thing insane. I think it was 2 to 3 times bigger. So I can't even imagine what that's going to be like. Okay. Exactly, Alien Tanner. You said major problem with looking back into the universe past is, well, maybe it doesn't exist anymore. Exactly, because we're just going by light, right? And of course, the light takes so much time to travel, so on and so forth. And yeah, that galaxy may be gone. The cool thing about it is I think they're trying to focus more on things that are much closer. Even if it's 400,000 light years away, it's still more in our lifetime that we'll get to see, unless, of course, we have a good drive, if you know what I mean, instead of a rocket engine that could get there in no time and actually, almost like a robot orbiter, kind of like we send over to Mars, only much smarter. It can go there, orbit there, take a bunch of photos, send out its own little probe, go there and come back, collects the probe, and maybe can make it back, or who knows, send pictures back. We don't know. I mean, we're already doing it in our own solar system. Why is that, you know, it's not far-fetched. Freshman Jones, they also found a planet with nothing but diamonds on it and another planet with miles and miles of marijuana. Dude! Mimi React, she said, guys, check out the YouTube channel UFOs over Vegas. Yeah, you remember that most popular one, right? You got the big triangle UFO, and it, I mean, I don't know how many people saw this. You can see this like V-shaped craft, and you see them like disappear, like in sequence. One would disappear, then another one would come up over on this side, then that one to drop off, and then it was just weird. And then they all just disappeared. Pretty cool. Goldheart, what's going on? Good to see you in there. He said, why did Nope suck? Now that I thought was a comedy at first, right? And then you said, I watched the trailer and it made me pretty curious. Yeah, me too, but it kind of looks like a comedy. Is it me or? But then when you look it up, it just says, I think it said sci-fi, horror, and something else. I'm going, I didn't gather that from the trailer on that. But I want to check that out as well. Long Island, New York, he said the trailer was great, but it seemed slow and boring to me, and my dad saw it with me and was confused by it. Also, the lead actress mumbles through the entire thing. Yeah, I mean, in a sense, I believe you're right. I mean, but the movie itself, I thought was pretty good. And it was pretty much like right from the word go, right? It just got right into the movie. What I like is the twist, right? Once they get into the moon and what happens, the twist, and I don't want to tell anybody because, like I said, if you haven't seen it, I hate to give it away. Ricardo, was it the red weed psychedelic? Yeah, that one that had the miles of Mary Jane. Yeah. Renee V said, so why did they pick up signals? Don't understand. We are always too late. You got that right. Yep. Now, this is, we're talking about how it goes back into time, where we're talking about NASA's $10 billion time travel machine, $10 billion rather, dollars, just found steamy water on a I keep screwing up today. I can't get my tongue to work. On a distant alien world. Last week, NASA revealed, let me go ahead and make this bigger so if you guys want to read along too. NASA revealed a full color, of course this saying, I think it's, let me see if I can find it. That's atmospheric composition, but it might be another one. It might be one similar to that. I think so. Anyway, revealed the first full-color photograph snapped by its $10 billion telescope, and the results were astonishing. While it is easy to be stunned by the clarity of the photos that were recently activated, James Webb Telescope is capable of capturing. The telescope is a lot more powerful than just taking, and I love the way they messed this up, they said blowing photos. Not sure what that means. I'm guessing it meant mind-blowing photos. It's so powerful that it is able to detect water on a very faraway planet. And they're calling it WASP 96b. One of the 5 objects that the telescope first focused on is an exoplanet targeted by JWST, where James Webb shot the Carina Nebula. Of course, we talked about that, and other objects. However, WASP 96b was studied as well, and it did so quite well. In fact, the research on the exoplanet WASP 96b, I think if I had $1 for every time they said WASP 96b, we'd be like starting to get money. Was so comprehensive the scientists detected water on it. WASP 96b is located 1,150 light years away in the constellation of Phoenix. Okay, and of course they're showing it right here, and it probably won't. Right here, and it's showing like water, H2O, so on and so forth. And of course it's saying best fit model, and of course wavelength of light, and of course microns, and of course you've got your part per million, and they're talking about amount of light blocked. So they can calculate this stuff. It's pretty wild, right? Really cool, I think. Webb's finding of water in the exoplanet's atmosphere is just one example of this space telescope's capabilities. In 2013, Hubble first identified water on an extrasolar planet. However, because of Webb's improvements, the telescope is now able to detect water much more precisely. As Webb digs further into exoplanet, it is impossible to predict what scientists may discover. So, if the Hubble seen this first, they probably went, we need something much more powerful. And they're actually looking at more photos, which is pretty cool, right? Looking at much more planets, I should say. And what they're trying to do is detect the atmospheres, and I think it's pretty cool that it can do that. Philip Swain, what's going on? He said, Chris, how are you doing? Great to see you see your live show. Well, I appreciate you being here. If it's your first time, it's good that you're here. Long Island, New York, it says WASP 96b inhabited by Greys. Never can tell. Renee V said, for you, NASA, yeah, probably should. Say, give it up. What are you guys talking about? Planetary Protector's in there too. I just noticed you were in there as well. Good to see you in there. I just went back here a little because this thing jumped to JWST. He said, I have seen a huge triangular UAP. I still want to call them UFOs too. A decade back, it was 3 or more football NFL field long. Low, slowly turning, and then shot up out of sight in a second. That's what they always do. It's like you always see them like kind of just slow, quiet, no sound at all, and you just see them kind of just when they're just off. I'm like, I have never seen that myself, which I think is interesting when people see those. Those are cool. Samo Gophonian Rockstar, trust me when I say this, you don't want to go into space, save Earth at all cost. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a combination of things going on, right? To me, and I think this is what you mean, where obviously you want to protect Earth, you want to take care of Earth, you want to do all of these things, and who knows if we don't have something lurking outside in our atmosphere that we're protecting ourselves from. And on the other side of the token, I'm looking at it, it's like we need to, if we're going to be, we need to be spacefaring, right? Because in case, you know, something does come along, large rock from outer space, bam, plummets. Let's say it's the size of Texas. That would pretty much put us into a nuclear winter. Pretty much everything would die. Well, within reason. You know, your food, crops, animals, everything else that's outside will die. You'll have a tough time getting food. And a lot of people will die off. And a lot of people will be killed off. Because if you have food and they don't, you're pretty much dead, you know. So, yeah, it could be a really bad disaster kind of thing going on. But, yeah. Pretty much bad scenario. I don't know. I wasn't a big Steve. I know you guys are talking about Interstellar. I wasn't really a big fan of Interstellar, although it was cool. But it got a little confusing if you didn't watch it. I had to watch it more than once because near the end, how he's in this like what looks like a giant spacecraft, and yet he's in a different dimension, trying to talk to her and all this. And it's like, wait a minute, and you know what I mean? You're trying to get it to get your brain to calculate what's going on, right? Oh, that's what you guys are talking about, Kyle. You said Spaceball, the part where the combination was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. He said, what idiot would do that? Then he goes, oh, it's the same combination. To my what's his name? Lord Helmet. That's funny. Renee V. So why did they say we don't understand? But so why do they pick up signals? Don't understand why they're always too late. But actually, they betray themselves. They have portals and ships there are made for NASA. Yeah, well, yeah, maybe, yeah. You seen the same thing, right? You said it was a P0. What the hell? I don't know. What are they doing there? That was pretty funny. Yeah, it wasn't misspelled or anything. Yeah, min full blowing. That's what it says right here. Oh, yeah. Somebody didn't proofread that. Anyway, I love this. It's a giant blueberry, but it's funny. It says, scientists have just accidentally discovered the most terrifying planet in the Milky Way galaxy. And scientists have just accidentally, okay, and they're talking about this here, but this is a YouTube, and I can't really play this. Scientists have just accidentally discovered the most terrifying planet in the Milky Way. And then it says, astronomy and astrophysics are huge, broad scientific branches spanning hundreds of areas of study within 2 disciplines. The Hollywood big screen promises us epic space battles, alien encounters, and commercial space travel. And whilst we are a while away from those things just yet, the work in the field is truly impressive. One of the biggest areas of research in astronomy at the moment surrounds exoplanets, the search for and the investigation of planets that orbit stars outside our solar system. So I thought this was pretty interesting. I mean, they just have the video, but look at this. This is another article, but Columbia professor, there's a more, what did it say? There's a more than 50% chance we're living in a simulation rather. And I was talking about that earlier. But I don't know if we can do that. Let me see. Unexplained. I don't know if I'll have a closed caption. Let's do that. But wait a minute, this thing's like 10, well, it's 10 minutes. Astronomy. See, it's basically reading the same thing we just saw, or just read to you. Pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, I love the idea of advancement, and by the way, it's a killer blueberry planet. The killer blueberry planet. All the way down here. Pat, I want to go to Planet Blueberry. That's what it is, giant blueberry. Pretty interesting. This is what I find interesting, and I'm going, how? We've talked about this before. Look at this guy. Look at this headline. Surprise! NASA has confirmed that Earth has a new moon. No, it does not. It's always had this little moon. The second moon is actually an asteroid called 2016 HO3 and is currently locked into a little dance with Earth. It's being called as quasi-moon. Okay, so yeah, Earth's been hiding a little secret from its partner, the moon. Turns out the Earth has had a mini moon on the side for over a century, and even though the relationship has been exposed, the partnership is likely to continue for centuries to come. No, there's another moon, period. This newly discovered moon is smaller than our moon and goes around the Earth. I want to say moon because I'm looking right here. The second moon, goes around the Earth astonishingly irregularly, but still, 2 is quite better than 1. The second, and I already read that, it's being called a quasi-moon. This new moon has been dancing around for over a century now. Its orbit is extremely elliptical, affecting it go a wee bit off tangent. Okay, between 30 and 100 times the distance of Earth's primary moon. A bob up and down act across Earth's elliptical whatever. That's orbital plane. This new moon is tidal by about 8 degrees, and it orbits the sun for 365 days. So basically a year, which is a little longer than Earth's 365-day long year. So NASA said since 2016, HO3 loops around our planet, but never ventures very far away as we both go around the sun. We refer to the quasi-satellite of Earth. So, but they've been saying this for years. They had a smaller moon. I'm not sure what the hell the deal is, right? Screw that little moon. Oh, that's funny. JWST said our moon is anomaly. The so-called new moon is a normal moon from a planet size. Yeah, you would think it'd be more of a normal one. Who knows? Maybe this, our moon that we have, that we know about, is probably like pushed the other one out into this other orbit, this elliptical orbit, and this one decided to just kind of stay tidal locked around us. Pure speculation here, folks, but how do we know, right? You can see the elliptical orbit here where they did that. Well, hold on. Let me see. Yep, you can see, I think it's saying our moon there, our Earth on the right, and of course, the way they got this thing, that's weird. So this is the other one, here's Earth, and of course we got our regular moon. But I think we should consider giving it a better name than 2016 H03. Agree? Okay. So the mini moon is going to be hanging around for a while. I think we should, yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure about all that, but listen, they've been talking about a mini moon, or there was a much smaller moon a long time ago. I don't know how they're getting this all of a sudden, right? Ricardo, you said the same thing. Spot on, Chris. We've had a little moon for a while. So I don't know where they're coming up with this like it's new news. You know, thespaceacademy.org. A little spacey, all right. What might the James Webb Telescope reveal about TRAPPIST-1? Now, you guys heard about TRAPPIST. You know, really, really cool. I think there's 7 planets in that particular mini solar system as well. And it's a lot smaller star than we have, than ours, right? NASA's James Webb Telescope, makes it sound like I'm really southern, is poised to revolutionize our understanding of exoplanets. In its first year, it'll spend a significant chunk of time studying a mysterious single star system, According to the James Webb Science Policy Group, not sure it's got off branches of these, over the next year, the James Webb will spend a full quarter of its time studying exoplanets and 8.2% of its exoplanet observations starting at the distant star of TRAPPIST-1. Now, if you remember, Hubble was looking at the TRAPPIST-1, and they found it has 2 planets like us in the Goldilocks zone. We got both our planet and Mars that's in the Goldilocks. Well, they got one similar to it. Now, when you read the article, it talks about how that star is so much smaller, that sun, and that all of the planets are much closer to that sun than our planets are to us. So it's kind of like, what's the word I want to use? It's weird because it's kind of like our sun's so much larger, ours is so much more spread apart and more distance from, because they're spread apart and then they're more distance from our sun, where this is much smaller and they're much closer. Kind of weird. So it said, anyway, James will spend, okay, we got that. Claims are flying around about discovering everything from thermal emission, signatures of water, and even signs of life on planets orbiting TRAPPIST-1. Excuse me. Oh, I hate it when that happens. We spoke with scientists leading the first observations of this unique planetary system in the James Webb Telescope to understand what mysteries their observations will help unlock, as well as why so much time has been devoted to TRAPPIST-1. What can this tiny system teach us about rocky planets and potentiality? Or it says life in the universe? Come on, they must know all this crap by now. And of course, you can see it says TRAPPIST-1b, C, D, E, F, G, and H, and sometimes Y. No, closely orbit their diminutive host star. It's an ultra-cool M-dwarf, the smallest class of star, discovered in 2016 and 2017 by the Transitioning Planets and Planetesimals Small Telescope. So, and it's saying TRAPPIST, and it's saying 7 rocky planets, so it's showing that closely orbit their diminutive host star. There are some qualities that make TRAPPIST star particularly appealing to researchers. It's relatively nearby with a temperature of about 2,400 degrees Celsius, roughly 4,300 degrees Fahrenheit, and with a mass and radius many times smaller than the Sun. All 7 TRAPPIST planets orbit their host very closely. Even the most distant, TRAPPIST-1H, orbits only, and it's saying 0.026 astronomical units, or AUs, 6 times closer than Mercury is to the Sun. They block out a larger fraction of TRAPPIST-1's light than more widely separated planets. So And it's saying it's only 12% that of the sun as far as its radius. So it's just a little bigger than Jupiter, explained Oliver Lim, PhD student at the University de Montreal, and principal investigator of the James Webb program, surveying 4 of the 7 Trappist 1 planets. This is a plus because for the given planet radius, the transition signal is easier detected for the smaller star. So really, really cool, right? And they've had their eyes on this for a while, and what they're trying to do is they're trying to find the atmosphere on these planets that would be in the Goldilocks zone. If they could find an atmosphere on these, guess what? There's a very good chance there may be life there. So I find that pretty interesting. I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom here because I don't know. Alien 10, Trappist 1 sounds like a Weyland-Yutani expedition to me. Gulf Coast Prepper, what's going on? Good to see you in there, man. He's down in Southwest Florida. Ricardo, you said article like that do help get it into the public consciousness as the headline is a pure attention getter. Yeah, of course. Let's see. And I think I think it's cool because I think they've had their eyes on this little system there for a while, and I thought it was the Hubble. I was wrong because it's saying right there, what was that other spacecraft? But still, you can bet they've looked at it as well with the Hubble, right? Planetesimals, yeah, small telescope. So, pretty cool. I think they will. I think they're going to find one of those planets that actually have an atmosphere, and that's going to be pretty cool. Now, you've seen this guy here. I think he's passed on now. You're talking about Bob Dean. He's a former member of NATO intelligence, high-ranking military man who has been involved in major UFO research. Today, already retired, he decided to divulge everything he knows to the world. And this a new video, Bob Dean showed, maybe he's not passed. I thought he's passed on. I could be wrong. Bob Dean showed images of an alien object about 3,200 kilometers long near the planet Saturn in 1980. Saturn's rings? Remember we were talking about that? Like it's almost like the ring builders kind of thing. Ricardo, thank you very much for your support, sir. As always, you said disclosure is like CIA waterboarding. They'll keep dripping on you until you get fed up with it and end up believing what they want you to. Well, that's true because here's the thing. You got to keep an open mind to is that sometimes these stories just want to steer the populace, right? They want to steer you to a certain way. I try to look at things from all angles, right, and try to analyze it. Am I always right? No. Am I always wrong? No. All we can do is just try to analyze it from different ways of thinking. I'm going, okay, so 3,200, that's a pretty darn big spacecraft. That's crazy. Recent leaked Russian space program files clearly show that the same object as described in 1980. Robert Dean explains in September 2009 the Cassini spacecraft photographed what NASA calls an anomaly, a strange object that they believe moved at will under the control of an intelligence, was metallic and magnetic. It was determined that the object measured about 3,200 kilometers in length by 800 kilometers in diameter. Yeah, that's a big craft. That's definitely a big craft. That's insanely big. Alien Tenno and Jared, you were saying the same thing. The rings of Saturn. NASA sounds of planets make Saturn around evil. Well, yeah, scary. And Jared, you said the ring makers of Saturn are advanced ETs. Well, I mean, if you think about it, because I've done a video on there where it looks like the structures literally on them rings. Now, people want to say, well, they can't. It's just basically debris from maybe other moons or planets that is now orbiting in those rings that we know of and that we've been told of. How do we know that's the truth? And if that's true as far as the ring makers, because they say like one of the rings, I forget which ring it was, it literally comes to an abrupt stop, like it was being manufactured, and then it just stopped. So is it like, let's assume, well, let's do a hypothetical. And of course, it's pure speculation. You've got Saturn, any planet we can just use with rings. You've got the rings on there. Is it possible that they have like off-world civilizations in these rings? I don't see why not if they're that technologically advanced. They could pretty much do anything they want to do. Maybe it's their little satellite constellation kind of thing around the actual planet. Maybe it's a link around the planet. Maybe it's something to protect the planet. No idea. Pure speculation. He says it here briefly, and I'll just run it here. I don't know if I got that on there as well. It should be.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. And yet, I ask you, is not an alien force already among us?
I hate it when that happens. Don't you guys hate it when that happens? Okay, anyway, so what I was saying was, we've been looking at this. Who's the moderator? I love that. Okay, we are on. That's cool. And I was saying this, I said aliens, read the headlines to this one. I've been saying this all along. Aliens could send quantum messages to Earth, calculations suggest, right? So scientists are building quantum communication networks on Earth, including sending quantum information via satellites. One test shown in composite photo, and of course you can see it right here. Now, physicists have calculated that quantum messages could be sent long distances through space. So, and this is by Emily Conover. And it's saying right here, intelligent alien civilization could beam quantum messages to Earth. Particles of light, or protons, could be transmitted over vast interstellar distances without losing their quantum nature, researchers report June 28th in Physical Review D. That means scientists searching for extraterrestrial signals could also look for quantum messages. Again, the FRBs, remember we were talking about this. The FRBs where, these are fast radio bursts. Again, they're coming from all over the universe, says SETI. Okay, so if you have the right optical receiver, again, we're talking about light, and this could be quantum, meaning through light, or through some kind of technology, better technology in radio waves, so to speak, because we got amplitude modulation, we got frequency modulation, also known as AM/FM. But of course, we have many other wavelengths, right? We got short wave, we got different, but it's basically the same thing. It's amplitude modulation and all this other stuff. So the thing is, we could have an alien civilization sending these in light, radio communication, regular radio waves, but they're just in different form, much faster. We don't know. Again, I was talking about how remember I was telling you guys about I think it was either Spirit, or it might have been a Spirit or Opportunity. I think it was Opportunity, where the guy working for NASA, there was an issue with that rover on Mars, and he decided to do a memory dump, and they found out that this thing had an extra transceiver, and that it was not sending the messages between 5 and 20 minutes like they say. It literally, as soon as it become Earthrise, because keep in mind you're on Mars, you have an Earthrise, it literally was sending this information within seconds. This is the reason why they believe that they had quantum communications even now. But the way they're making it sound is, oh yeah, we're just starting to build this shit now. No, I don't believe that for a minute. Louis Longbeard, thank you very much for your support, sir. I do appreciate you as always. He said, hope you're doing well, Chris and chat. I've not been around in a while due to work, but I'm looking forward to hearing what you've got to discuss. I appreciate that, man, and I understand about the work, trust me. This is the reason why sometimes I don't get a chance to get on, because I'm at work and I don't make it home soon enough, which kind of sucks, because I hate when that happens, But I appreciate that, and I do appreciate the support as always. Ian, what's going on? Say, hey, Chris, how's it going? It's going good, man. Good to see you there as well. All right. So, so now that we get that fixed there. Tim Houston, you said, good morning, Chris. Good morning, you guys. What's going on, Tim? A major obstacle in quantum communications is a decoherence, in which quantum particle loses its quantumness as it interacts with its surroundings. Quantum states you generally think of very delicate, and if there's any kind of external interaction, you kind of destroy that state, Barrera says. Since the average density of matter in space is much less than on Earth, particles could be expected to travel farther before succumbing to decoherence. So Barrera, a theoretical physicist, Jamie Figueroa, both of the University of Edinburgh, calculated how far light and particle. See, this is what's funny, because I'm trying to remember if that's the same thing. It may not be. In particular, X-rays could travel unscathed through interstellar space. X-ray photons could more than traverse the Milky Way, potentially traveling hundreds and thousands of light years, or even more, the researchers found. Based on findings, Barrera and Calderon, I guess we'll just call them, considered strategies to search for ET quantum dispatches. One potential type of communication in search for is quantum teleportation. Interesting. In which the properties of a distant particle can be transferred to another. And then, of course, they got a reference, I guess it is. It's saying 2017. Since the technology requires both quantum and classical signals. Scientists could have looked for simultaneously signals to identify any alien quantum missives. Missives? So, yeah, this is what I was talking about. Depending on their signal. Now, the way they just said this, both quantum and classical, meaning probably regular radio waves, put them together. Could you get, kind of like on Contact, remember they were saying like there's something like a sub-frequency or a sub-signal that when they got it, it was nothing more than noise, but then all of a sudden they started looking into the sub-band or the sub-part of that signal and found all kinds of information in it. Is it possible they're doing the same thing? It could be quantum and regular signals. Combine them makes one different signal that we just cannot do because we're looking for either or. But what if they're using both? Pretty interesting. Edinburgh. Okay. I stand corrected, Ricardo. Thank you. Let me see. Golf course proper. The Earth is flat. Just kidding. Yeah, Rashman, yep. Like the movie Contact. It was a different signal. They weren't looking for it. So they had a subcarrier in the signal and found out what? They were saying our old news, TV broadcasts, everything were being bounced back. So they say, hey, we know about you and we're going to send the signal back to you. So yeah. So that was pretty interesting. And I've been saying this all along. Aliens could send quantum messages to Earth, calculations suggest. And like I said, I believe the FRBs could be just that. Talking about light and talking about regular signals that we would use. What they call it classical signals, but just our mainstream radio signals combined with a light signal in order to get the whole signal and all of the information in that. If you get one or the other, it's like listening to a one-sided conversation, kind of like what I was doing here. Well, no conversation, but no sound. But you get what I'm saying. You got it like you're on the phone. It's a one-sided conversation. The other one's muted. You can't hear the other person. You're like, what? So if you get all of it combined, it would take a special receiver, would it not? And if that was somehow encrypted, again, even more special receiver. And you have to build a certain dish to be able to do that, both light as well as, radio waves themselves. That would be a weird signal. Think about that. That would just be bizarre, wouldn't it? It's all right. You guys didn't miss anything. I went back. I went over what I said. I like that. Chris's silent rant. It's like, shh, don't tell anybody. It depends on how you look at it, Ricardo, because if you're getting regular standard radio wave, you'd need that, right? Because your antenna is basically your, let me see. Well, it'd be LNB, which is a low noise block. But if they're using something much different, and so, well, here would be the question. So how do you get the light side of it? You'd have to be able to receive that somehow. So, and if it is a signal, inside, it's kind of like your, what's the word I want to use? We'll go with, what can we use as an example? Well, like your cable, right? The fiber optics cable, same difference. You have to have it within something in order to transmit it to wherever it's going to go. Now, if it's coming from space, it has to be through some kind of fiber optics receiver. There's just no way around it. You're going to have a radio wave as well as a light receiver. There's really no way around it. It's like you couldn't send that kind of cable internet without that fiber optics, right? There has to be a controlled substance or control that light somehow, some way. And if you're just broadcasting a flash, there's got to be a way to actually receive that. So it's got to be both. Ray V says, "You're awesome. Respect, man." Let me see. Okay. Oliver Klein, you said, to communicate, you focus the wave information in space. You're you're not sending waves in all directions, too much risk and no distance. Well, yeah, I mean, it had to be a definitely directed signal, right? Instead of an omni signal, unless, of course, you have the kind of receiver that can, transmitter that can do that. But it'd be light in all directions. And I guess you could do that. It'd have to be something bizarrely just crazy. Because think about it, if it is light transmitter type thing, then you would literally have to have it like in these large antenna. Yeah, it'd have to be crazy. If you want to send it to certain different parts of the galaxy or the universe, maybe you have something like a cell site, so to speak. You can bounce it off other planets and it just disperses. Who knows? It's probably something that they're scratching their head on every day and night, trying to figure out how they would communicate with us. And like I said, to me, I've been thinking about this, saying this for a while now. There you go, Rico. Let's crowdfund and build one of those receivers. Now we could do that, because you wouldn't know where to start. You could build one, but you'd have to have, Right, and I still get what you're saying, and I think you're correct, Ricardo. He said, I get what you're saying, Chris, but quantum comms use coupled resonance, so it's not actually broadcast in a conventional sense. But again, it's like you still have to be able to receive it. So how do you think they would do that? Because I get what you're saying too. Because it's like I agree with you on one sense, and then I'm saying, but still, if there's a flash of light out in space, you have to capture this somehow. You have to be able to take this and decipher it. So how would they go about doing that? Talk for a while, your voice starts to get a little horsey. No, I'm kidding. James Craig, thank you very much for your support as usual, my friend. You said, Chris, just going off track a second, but at 9 minutes and 20 seconds of your Mars vid, yes, they are circling what is clearly an intelligent built structure defo. Well, if you look at that, when I say at the very end, before I pop on there, my final thoughts, if you were to freeze it there and use your magnifier, look on the very left-hand side, not up against that butte, come closer to the very edge of that, you can see what looks like machine parts, almost looks like structures and everything right in that left corner. I did that at the very end. I'm going, I'm looking at, holy shit. There's some things in there that are actually, they're in that, under that blur and centering, whatever it is. There's things under there. I've seen it myself. I'm going, wow, that is crazy. I didn't even stop to actually look at every inch of that thing. And there you go. Even when I ended with it, I said, I'll just take a look at it myself. I'm just sitting there with the magnifier. I'm going like this. Oh, Inspector Clouseau. But I'm literally looking at this thing. I'm going, oh my God, are you kidding me? On the left-hand side, in the very front of that, you can see that. Pretty cool. Let me see. If you guys haven't hit the thumbs up, please do so. I do appreciate it. I like that. You guys are going back and forth. Tim Hughes says, but I refuse to grow up. I feel you. Especially as you get older, you're just like, I'm not growing up. I'm not doing it. My mind will stay young, but my body's going, are you serious right now? Oof. Pat, you said it's been over 100 degrees almost every day this month here in Texas with no rain. And I've heard that too out west. They've been getting hammered with like droughts and unreal record temps and stuff like that. There you go, Rico. Do you have a message for me? Inspector Clouseau. Ricardo said the better analogy I can come up with for quantum comms is to imagine the signal is created and transmitted, then received outside of a normal time-space, i.e. something like Star Trek subspace. Yeah, I see, and I understand. The weird thing about it is, but see, they're doing like a subspace, and still, it's, if you think about it, it's still radio, right? and they're doing it in a conventional way, which is really bizarre. But it definitely have to be like a quantum communications, you would think, on like Star Trek or things like that of that nature, because they're just so far away. It's like, oh yeah, you know, when they make these long-range communications, it'd have to be within no time. Remember, they'd sit there and go, okay, we'll wait for a word from them, stuff like that, and they literally wait, and then of course they get it because it takes a little time. But like I said, it'd be one thing if it was literally because you're trying to wrap your mind around this, right? It'd be one thing if I was sending like internet from one person's house to another. Again, I'm controlling it with fiber optics, and I can just send it over there. But wireless is a whole lot different story here we're talking about. And I agree with you. Light is just light. You just see it. But how do you take that? Like, let's say you and I are just standing. All of a sudden, you see this flash of light. You go, what the hell was that? And somehow, that was a communications from another civilization, if we could see it from Earth. And you could see that. There's no way for you to know what that is. So something has to be able to break down that signal. Something has to be, again, something decipher it. And if it's for all we know, it's a multi-mode communication. We don't know if it's both light, FM, AM. It's like this weird, like a whole barrage of different modes of communication into one signal, and you have to break that down. It's just wild, when you stop and really think about that. It's just crazy. But it's funny because you literally try to get your mind wrapped around how would they be able to see that? How would they be able to receive these signals as well? It's just, it's crazy. Pete Ferrero says only 75 in Buffalo, but we haven't got much rain. See, that's what I'm saying. It's like I guess I've been getting it all because we've had no word of a lie. This month, over 7.5 inches of rain. This month. That's crazy, right? 7.65 inches of rain. So 7 and 6/10 of another inch. So yeah, almost, well, not really 8, but it's almost going on 8 inches of rain. That's nuts. So I guess you guys have been pushing it my way. I don't know, because I'm going. And it was supposed to be like major flooding today, but we had rain this morning, and then I got cameras. I can look outside my house anywhere in the world, and I'm looking. I'm going, oh, it's pouring like crazy at my house, and yet it was fine at work. So, and then of course we get the rain a little bit later. Pat always said, can hardly wait for the fall to get here. The weird thing about it is I don't know if it's going to be, anybody know what the winter forecast is going to be? Like they can kind of, because if it's El Nino, depends on how it's coming off the West Coast and all this other crap. Of course, you guys, if you live in other countries, you wouldn't know this. Well, you would because you'd have your own predictions for the wintertime. But it has a lot to play in it. But I'll tell you what, if it's an indication, if this pattern just goes right through the wintertime, oh, we're all screwed. I mean, at least my area will be. Whitebeard Sky Daddy said, this is week 3 of the plague for me, guys. I went out to mow the megaflora and soon started to drown in my own internal fluids. We have rain, sun, rinse, repeat. I know it's been crazy here. And a lot of people have been getting dropped. They got no rain. I've had that some summers too, Pat. You said, oh, the grass in my yard looks like it's straw hay. It's all dead. At least I don't have to mow. True. Save some money on gas. He said, Pat, we have to mow 3 times a week. Well, yeah, being in Florida. Terry Kelly says, Chris, stop, you're melting my brain. I'm still trying to wrap myself around that as far as my brain around how they would do that, but we don't even know the, what their communications would be like, right? We have no idea. And I think that's what they're trying to figure out. Because here's the thing, if you were to say, okay, is it possible we're getting signals from extraterrestrial, other civilizations? How would you know how they do it? Now, if you're into physics and astrophysics rather and all this other stuff and communications, all this other good jazz, then you go, okay, so how do we know what they're transmitting in? Like I said, it could be the FRBs, fast radio bursts, it could be anything. So how do you begin? First of all, you got to figure out what kind of signal is being sent, then you got to try to build a receiver, or just build one and just say, cross our fingers, guys, hopefully we'll receive something. Like I said, is it light intertwined with regular radio signals to get the full signal? Who the hell knows? I think it's a legit question, to be truthful with you. Ricardo, you're saying big concern over the North Atlantic overturning circulation getting disrupted means warm water from Gulf not come to Europe. Yeah, that won't be good in the wintertime, will it? Well, you guys are still in the winter right now, aren't you? Who's got cold weather right now? I know you guys are on the other side of the world, or almost do. Ricardo, so one thing's for sure, I bet they're not transmitting in the clear. Yeah, I don't know. That's just really crazy. Renee V says it was last week not doable in my apartment. I think 38 degrees. My fan didn't work. Hot air, but bought an air cooler. You can throw ice and get here. Still measure with heat waves. I think wow, it's crazy. You know what's funny? Remember those new little air conditioners, the little cools they sell on TV? It's like that's like old technology. I remember my aunt and uncle. They had. It looked like a regular air conditioning. The only difference is you took out the steel tray and you put just a pile of ice in it. And it literally just a fan would just drag, the air over the ice and turn it into cool air. Just cool air came out. This is not new technology. This went back in the late 70s, early 80s. Cameron, what's going on? Good to see you in there. I'm doing well. How you doing? Doing okay? Susquehanna, I guess I'm pronouncing that correctly. Maybe the Black Knight has a quantum communicator gift for us. Can you imagine if this thing is legit, the Black Knight? Let's say it is absolutely legit, because I haven't been out in space. I don't know if it's there or not. But from the pictures, we do see it is there. What would that thing be like? If it was there for X amount of thousands upon thousands of years ago, what kind of technology would be in that? That'd be pretty crazy, right? And of course, we know Mr. Brandenburg. If nobody's ever heard this story, this is, and many of us do here, this is not new. The existence of dead humanoid civilization on Mars that was destroyed by a massive nuclear explosion, actually there was two, and is explained by physics. And of course, if you talk to its physicist John E. Brandenburg, a tremendous thermonuclear explosion decimated the planet's atmosphere, which formerly resembled Earth's. The Cydonia hypothesis and Fermi's paradox were taken into account in the investigation, which kind of makes sense, right? If you look at it from that angle, Fermi's paradox. It's like, why haven't we heard about aliens? Yeah, well, who says they haven't? The greatest justification for what may have occurred on Mars comes from 2015 research by, and of course it's talking about, again, that rest heads. Okay, I'm going to make this big. Because it comes from Mr. Brandenburg. In light of the imaging and geochemical findings, Brandenburg thought about the Cydonia hypothesis. He used the Giza pyramids, the Sphinx, the Olmec heads as analogs under the principle of mediocrity with attention to detail to adopt a model of Earth-like degraded archaeology for comparison of Mars relics. Let's see. It says the Cydonia hypothesis, which postulates the existence of an old native culture on Mars that dates to the roughly Bronze Age was supported by evidence from the two Martian locations, Cydonia Mensa and Galaxia Chaos. That's one I always kind of forget, which is, it's east and slightly south from the Cydonia Mensa or the Cydonia region. As demonstrated by a physicist, Brandenburg, in his study, there is proof that a large mixed fission explosion occurred on Mars close to Cydonia Mensa, according to the isotope and gamma ray data from the planet. Okay, so if you guys haven't read about that, that's just cool in itself. And again, you know, if you look at, and I've said this many times, if you look at the map and just Google put missions, well, you can put many ways. You can put like missions to Mars. You can put anything like where are they, blah, 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 blah. And I'll show you the map of these things. I'll show you exactly where they're at. Well, you can see like, it's like Cydonia region or Cydonia Mensa. And of course you got the Chaos region over here. And all of the landers and rovers are just south of it and west and east. They're all around it. Is it by accident they just happen to land there? Or are they wanting to know more about what happened in that area? Well, I think we know the answer to that. Whitebeard Sky Daddy, thank you very much for your support, sir. I do appreciate you. Thank you. That's awesome. Ben, what's going on? You said, hey, Chris, how you been? I'm just fine, man. How you doing? Every now and then I see you pop in there, and sometimes you must be busy as well. And I don't blame you. It's just like, it's crazy. You know, you want to be on here. I like to be on here as much as I could, and it's just like because of the work and everything else, sometimes it's tougher to be on. Bush Corey, Atari 2600. Sweet. Gerda Bonus, what's happening? The quantum messages, subspace communications known since 1960s. They've been doing this for a long time, right? Terry Kelly, thank you very much for your support, man. I almost missed this. Is this hot weather due to man-made global warming or man-made weather modification? And like somebody was saying down here, I think both. And that wouldn't surprise me at all. It really wouldn't. You don't have these chemtrails for no reason, right? And not to mention there's much more, you know, devious reasons why they're doing it. I'm sure it's to make people sick over a course of time, which does not help. Chris Corker, what's going on? You said, I don't often get around when you're live. Well, that's cool that you did this time, man. Appreciate you being here. Yes, Dean Brazil, what's going on? So if Mars was Earth-like, what's the probability of two planets so close to each other being habitable but can't find another Earth-like planet close by? Just a thought. Well, you're right. I agree with you. And the thing is, this is what I'm saying. If Mars was a lot like Earth, and we're finding proof that there was intelligent life on that planet, were we around thousands of years ago? Was that civilization around thousands of years? I say yes, based on what we see in these photos. Because again, you got to remember, you know, they say millions of years ago it was just like it was like Earth. I don't know. Maybe the planet was like that, but if they had a civilization there, and there may still be beings alive in there, we don't know, on the planet. If it was like that, is it possible that both planets were alive and civilizations were alive at the same time? Because remember, we go back thousands upon thousands of years ago. They're finding this out more and more. And I'm talking about civilized man. And like I said, we probably were technologically advanced thousands upon thousands of years ago. And of course, we've had, you know, these great cataclysmic events, you know, ice ages and, you know, meteor strikes and all kinds of stuff, floods, fire, you name it. We've had it all. So is it possible we were, and if that's true, that's a big if because I'm speculating, if it's true, is it possible that both civilizations were alive and well at one time? Is it possible we could have been going back and forth to Mars and back? Have no idea. It'd be interesting to kind of, that is pretty cool. Now, is that true? I don't know. You know what I mean? Just food for thought. Ricardo, yeah. Funny how they show a picture of Valles Marineris on the article and not the Cydonia region with the face. Yeah, I've noticed that too. And here's the funny part, Ricardo, and I know you've done this. Go Google the face of Cydonia. And what's funny about it, you always get these small, real black and white, the tiniest thing you can find of that particular photo. And it's like, Now, sometimes you can find one that's bigger, but you don't see anything. I mean, I understand originally because, we're talking about, very small pictures back then. I get that. But it's just crazy how this site, they're black and white, they're grainy as heck. And you know as well as I do, they had better photos than that. Because, like I said, they had cutting-edge cameras even for that time. Of course, they wouldn't be as great as they are today. But compared to what the public had and compared to what the military or NASA or any of these guys had, there were two different worlds here. I mean, Tim Husey said, anyone see China's Phobos photos? I think I did, but did they have just one or just several? Because I could be wrong here. I remember seeing this, was it the other day, I think it was. Samo Gufonian. Yeah, I mean, it is pretty cool, isn't it? But that is Valles Marineris. Kyle said, we all still have lives to live, but I usually try to put everything on pause to watch the channel. Well, it's like me. I like to it's like with everything going crazy going on and everything else, I like to just kind of be like, listen, try to take it chill. Now, sometimes I get out of work and I'm literally trying to get here to fire everything up because, you got to fire up both computers, come up with some, I've already had this topics we had, these pages we're looking at. So that's, so I try to get all that, get some stuff. We can have some interesting things to talk about. Of course, you guys bring some stuff to the table too, which is awesome. And then we get to discuss that, which is cool. Oh, you're absolutely right, Samo. We'll say this briefly. Thing is, our satellites go over the equator. Yeah, they're in the equatorial region, right? And Black Knight goes polar, so it's, pole to pole. Which is, we do have satellites that actually do that, but we don't know just how far off, into orbit it is, meaning, is it low orbit, higher orbit, and this is the reason why it doesn't hit any of these things. I don't know. Oliver Klein, it said it was 60 billion beings in the system before the war and the crash of the planets. And you know what? We really don't know. That could very well be true. This whole solar system could have been hopping at one time. Because again, we're a solar system with a binary sun. One's just a burned out dwarf, right? But we had two suns. One was out there and one is where it's at now. And if you have heat from both ends, then all of these planets could have had life on them at one time millions of years ago. We don't know that. Very good possibility. Maybe it wasn't, Scott Wood says, what up? What's going on, Scott? He said, just chilling. Chilling like a villain. I'm glad it could be the brunt of everybody's amusement there, Kyle. He's saying, Mike Knapp, how nice of you to join us. He's been here. Where you guys been? Mike's been in here. And I said some fun earlier as Chris went on mute and we had a blast. Like, we can't hear you, dude. What's up? Yeah, he was in the beginning. That's like Mike's saying. Got it. I was here for a start, but had to watch a movie. What movie was it? Anything good? That was something decent if you had to, get away from it. The way you had the sad face, it's like, that's not good. Marina Rapan, what's going on? Good to see you in there. Chris Corkery said, I think it's likely that after a war on Mars, some of the survivors went to Earth. If we were known to the other civilizations locally, perhaps they helped us relocate. Over time, we forgot our ancestry. That could very well be true, because they said, you know, who was that, what's his name, the researcher that says, you know, we're basically a civilization with amnesia. And that's the thing. It's like, we don't know. If we've been knocked into basically the dark ages when all of these catastrophic events, because we're supposed to be in the 5th cycle of Earth, if that's true, then how long ago was the first cycle? How, you know, technologically advanced were we, if we were at all? And so on and so forth. And then once that dies off and you can't build or anything anymore, and a lot of stuff dies off, and you don't have the technology to get it booted back up, but then you figure it out again, you get back up again, then get knocked down, then get knocked up. You just don't know. If you get better and better, more technologically advanced, how do we know? Oh, you're welcome, Marina. Yeah. He said, thank you. Good to see you too, and everyone else. I'm glad you're here. Samuel Gufonian, a rockstar, says our clocks are set to Mars, a clock cycle. That's true. Absolutely true. And like I said, where our bodies are, we're more tuned to the gravity over there. Of course, we don't know what the gravity was back thousands of years ago. Or maybe even 100 years ago. We don't know. Has it changed a little bit? Has it gotten better? Has it gotten worse? Has it lost its, you know, gravitational? We don't know. I mean, of course, I'm sure you can look this up and they could probably tell you that. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. It's, you know, it's just hard to tell. It's something you'd have to really look into. Like I said, if you had less gravity, people would be walking around with a lot less back pain. And you could probably pick up your car with no problem. That would be pretty interesting, wouldn't it? Would they have to make the car heavier or lighter? I can imagine going over to a bump and you're like, it's like, you go over, it's like going off a ramp. Alfie Joe Bob's in the house. What's going on? Alfie Joe Bob, good to see you in there. What is happening? Yep, Robert Morgan just jumped in there. I just jumped over him by accident. I think I see it. Yeah, there he is. At the end of World War II, my old boss's dad took a reconnaissance 35 millimeter lens off one of the Nazi planes. He got amazing photos with that lens. Like when we went to the Cathedral Cathedral. Wow. That's crazy. Oh, Long Island, you said, does Chris smoke weed? No, dude, I promise you I don't. I don't inhale. Oh, no, but I used to. And I don't mean like everyday thing. I mean, this goes back years ago. We just chilling with a couple friends. Oh, dude, want a hit? All right. But it's not like I made it a normal thing. Chris Corker says, studies done with humans in conditions without sunlight revert to Mars times. It's circadian rhythm. And you're saying without sunlight, though, revert to Mars times. Well, either way, I mean, you know, when you look at it, it's like the way they're saying. Now, of course, the atmosphere, or lack of oxygen as well, but they do say all of that is pretty much close to the ground, so you can still have oxygen and everything else, and of course, water on the ground. It doesn't sublimate because it's not going off into the air. Although they claim that it sublimates, it just turns into a gas, not a liquid. I don't believe them for a minute, and I've already proved that, and they've finally said that. They just said, well, there is H2O at the poles, which they said basically was carbon ice way back in the day, and I didn't believe that because, like I said, you look at the Hubble photos, the caps grow and shrink with the seasons, just like here on Earth. I went, okay, I get the idea of carbon ice because it forms with pressure. Okay, I get that, but to put that much on there, and I said, and the way I put like pieces together, saying, well, there's enough. It's basically brine. They're saying salt water underneath the dirt, and there's only so much per. I forget, it was 3 square feet or whatever it was. This is years ago I read this, and then I'm going, okay, so you got heat, and it can get up to, like I said, even the Curiosity rover when it first was on Mars, it said it detected 104 degrees Fahrenheit in the shade, which wouldn't surprise me because if there's no atmosphere, there's no filtering of the sun, so God knows what it can get up to. And then, of course, it gets way down because, again, nothing to hold the temperatures in. It's kind of like the moon, right? It can get really hot on the surface and then cool down very, very quickly. So being it's further away from the sun, it still get quite hot. So you got evaporation, you got brine, there is a water cycle in Gale Crater, we know that. I'm going, okay, so it's not just a carbon, excuse me, the drink's going to kill me. So when you start putting all of this information together, you go, okay, so there's H2O. There's literally H2O on these poles, and sure in heck, they come out with it after, saying, yeah, there is actually, it's just like here on Earth. We have H2O, we have water on the polar caps, and then we've got carbon ice, just like we do here on Earth. It's no different. Oh, so Alfie Joe Bob, you were being stealthy. Okay, gotcha. Fox got a good one. Drag racing on Mars equals low ETs. I mean, little ETs. Yeah, that wouldn't be good. Either way, right? Let's see. I was going back. Ricardo, he said there's an interesting article why people are rude and unkind and why it's not about you. Maybe they just wake up douchey. Could be. So it's kind of people that go, okay, whose Wheaties can I piss in this morning? I got to be able to do this. Got to piss somebody off today. I'm just not happy. I haven't read the article, so I'm just making fun. Oh, okay. Also, did you see the article about the temp in some craters on the moon being circa 64 degrees? And I haven't seen that article. I haven't seen that. But I know at some point, because, well, it can't be all the time, unless there's something manufacturing the heat. Is that what you're saying? Because even if it's tidal locked, it still has to be in the shade at some point, right? I was just reading Ricardo's response to Long Island, New York's when you're saying, I think you're saying Ganymede, I think you meant the moon type thing. Kathy's of Ganymede. You know, it's funny, I actually brought that photo up on my phone, And I asked a couple of my co-workers today, I said, what do you think these are? And at first they're looking at it like they don't understand my question. I'm going, when you see this, and I said it's a moon, Ganymede, the name of it's Ganymede. I said, what do you see here in this brighted area? They were still perplexed, like they're going, like they didn't really understand the question. I said, what does it look like to you? Does it look like water coming up and kind of falling back, or does it look like in something else? And they're like, no, it kind of looks like lights or something like that. I was like, here we go. So, and you can see like the shadows, and I've done videos on this where you can see like it looks like giant, like these powerful spotlights, and then you got like these rectangular shadows. It's almost like there's a row of lights, a wall, there's like rows of lights back here, and something's casting a shadow back there. It's just really weird. And even they were going, really? That's weird. Well, yeah. But it's funny you mentioned that. Kyle's still talking about Leslie Ann. Leslie Ann Warren's in there? Where'd you get in? Yeah, there she is. Leslie Ann, you said, oh, I haven't missed it. My matey's big hug's been not good. Hope you're not feeling bad. Hate to hear that. Josh D said, basically, I'm a waste. A good night, all. All right, Josh D, thanks for being here, man. Appreciate you. And have yourself a good weekend there, right? Interesting. Long Island, New York said, I take magic mushrooms on Saturn moons and speak with God. So I see him too. Okay, let me see. I want to grab that. And I got that. Oops. Okay, here it is here. Okay, I do remember seeing the photos here. I just don't. Yeah, saying finds lunar pits harbor comfortable temperatures. Interesting. Well, I mean, if they're gonna now the one because the photo, remember, it shows the one that's in the ground where they believe there's caves, giant caves, like the old caverns and caves and stuff like that. I'll actually drop this in here so people can read it if they want to as well. They can read along about this. You do this. Oops. Do this. I'm going to drop it for anybody who wants to see this. And there we go. Pat Owen says the Mega Millions Lotto is $1 billion tonight. I bought 3 lottery tickets. Telling you, can you imagine that? I'm sure you guys daydreamed about going, man, if I ever won that, what the hell would I do with it? Oh, I know what I'd do with it. Can you say invest it like there's no tomorrow and then live a comfortable life and then some? Yeah. Robert Morgan said, depending on when the bombs were dropped on Mars, we could work back the half-lives to see what explosion would strip off the atmosphere as well as stop planet's core, I think you were trying to say. Yeah, true. Very true. I'm the same way, Kyle. Yeah, I mean, you said I would give a lot of it away to people that I care about most. Yeah, it's like I said, though, we've had this discussion with other friends, and I said, it's amazing, though. If people ever found out that you had it, they'd be like, you'd have these people coming out of the woodworks. Hey, Kyle, man, you don't remember me? We were in kindergarten together. We were best buds. You don't remember? You'd be like, dude, never seen you before. Never seen you before. But, yeah, they'd come out of the woodwork. James, thank you again for your support. I do appreciate you. You said, Chris, what about the huge structures in and around the craters on the moon? vid you did about 2 weeks ago. Well worth talking about. Great vid it is. Yeah, I mean, again, we see some crazy things. I've seen really weird things on the moon, or in the moon photos, depending on how you look at it. Really, really cool stuff. The one, I think the best one I've ever seen where you can see, and I don't remember which Apollo it was, but off in the distance you can see the moon buggy with the astronaut standing next to it, but you have these two supposed mountains, and I don't believe they're mountains at all, but you can see an outline of what looks like some kind of weird structure or a machine standing just kind of right there on the side or in front of one of these mountains. And when you bring and you burn it, suddenly this thing just becomes something massive and it's on a stand. It's absolutely crazy. And then when you're finished with the photo, and of course nothing's going to be 100% clear, but when you see it, this astronaut smack dab in the middle of all of this. They look like structures and whatever else, which is not ours, is all over that area, and this astronaut smack dab in the middle of it. What? Really, really cool stuff. Is Mike taking off? All right, Mike. Good to see you in there, man. Thanks for joining us. As always, he said good night, all. Have a good weekend. You do the same. Glad to have you in there, as always. And try not to drink too much. And if you do, have one for me. A lot of my friends are the same thing, man. I'm going to get gutted this weekend. I was like, hey, nothing wrong with that, man. You earned it because you worked your ass off all week. Whitebeard Skydaddy said I could survive large amounts of money before, but 10 years ago, not so sure. Yeah, I mean, I would invest it, give it away to good friends and family, of course, and, just live good. Make sure your family's hooked up. They're all making, they've got money. They can, invest it too, so they can live, live like kings and queens, you know what I'm saying? Just chill. Robert Kermit Cole, what's going on? He said, really enjoyed the last get-together. The proof of airbrushing and hazing the gigapans is so elementary. Yeah, I mean, it is, right? And the funny thing about it is, like I said, even the better quality photos, as everybody calls, oh, they're so good, they're so good. Not so much. And there was proof right there in the pudding, right? You can literally see it in this photo. I mean, it's just so evident. Because they're just trying to overlay things on there to hide whatever they can in the photo, right? Me says, aloha. Could you go over some of the JP Skipper's old work for a fresh take? What I need to do is actually do a couple more videos on those, because JP Skipper was way ahead of his time, right? Found with his lakes, what looked like trees are on the lakes. Really, really cool stuff. And this goes back years. This is not something that was like, 5-10 years ago. We're talking years and years ago. Of course, he's deceased and everything else, but really, really good work. And Richard Hoagland was right there with him and basically carried the torch after that. And really, really cool stuff. Not a bad idea. Bush Corey says, I'd buy a new guitar. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Terry Kelly said, Chris, if Elon Musk went to the moon, do you think he would tell us the truth about what he found? I want to say no. The only reason why I say that is because basically he's working with NASA. Subcontracted through him, call it what you will, intricate part of him. Not sure. But you could bet if there's anything to see, he's probably seen it. So they're probably saying, yeah, just, yeah, don't say a word. Because I don't know if they just feel that everything would just like, life on the planet itself would just go topsy-turvy, meaning people would just be like, oh my God, what? And like a lot of people talked about here, they're saying, well, then that would like be, you'd have to tell the truth about everything. There could be 0-point energy, all kinds of crazy stuff, technology, and because people are going to want to know, what did you find there? Was there something there that you can discuss? Because if you say old, like spacecraft or some kind of structures, tell me more. You can't just go, by the way, we found something on the moon that's not natural. Okay, you can't just leave it like that. You got to tell us what's up, right? So I don't think he would, truthfully, and that kind of sucks. Hellfire Studios said, hey, Chris, that's been my theory for a long time. Yep. I think a lot of people feel that way. Jeffrey Eaton says, I'd buy a bunch of heroin. You can do that, but the problem with it is that you'd be dead before you know it. So you can't enjoy the money you won. I think I told you that story too, folks. Remember that? It was saying that this young kid had done that. He had won the lottery. Oh my God, he's like gonna party it up, bought himself a mansion, the whole 9 yards. So has all his closest friends there, has like, I don't know, 100, 300 people there at his party. He's having a great time. Kills himself, overdoses. What is the frickin' point? I mean, you want to throw down, you want to have a good night, okay, but do it within reason, You want to get high, stoned, whatever you want to do, drunk out of your gourd, then go for it. But that was just weird, man. I don't think I would have, I don't think I would have done that. Leslie, I don't know why you're so hard against him. You're talking about Elon. Elon is the biggest Rubus? LOL and a liar. What on moon is it being that they live there, not NASA? Elon is an idiot and delusion. Well, here's the thing. It's kind of like Neil deGrasse Tyson, right? You know as well as I do, he knows there's life out there. Now, whether you believe he's a tool or not is immaterial. But when he says, he lasted off at UFOs, even a person who's an astrophysicist has got to say to himself, there could very well be life out there. So why chuckle at that unless you're just trying to be part of the mainstream, the ones that are like trying to be, like diffuse the idea there could be aliens out there. So you're going, well, I trust him, so therefore I believe there's no aliens. Okay. But you know as well as I do, they gotta know that, especially Elon. Now, like him or hate him, I think the guy's brilliant. Now, I think that, he could be just as shitty if you think about it, if he's not going to tell the truth or divulge the truth. But many of them won't do that. A lot of people, and here's the thing, it may be just simple. I was going to say a lot of people probably wouldn't say anything either because they're probably, if you work with NASA or JPL or whoever it may be, could be ESA, could be any space program, right? If you're working with them and they're telling you the truth about what's there and you're seeing it, on the computer, and you're literally seeing live pictures from Mars, the moon, wherever, and you see, non-censored photos, you got to go, oh my God, what is that? Okay, you've been sworn not to say anything to anybody, and obviously, if you say anything, then we'll have to kill you. So, and your family too. So, obviously, you're not going to say a word, and that's going to be frustrating because you want to express it to the whole world. And like I said, Elon's probably the same way. He's like, listen, I can see this, and it's like, it's well worth it to keep my mouth shut because they give me all the stuff I want to look at right here. Oh my God, look at that. So I'm privy to something that 99.5% of the world will never know. So yeah, I'll keep my mouth shut. They're gonna tell me this stuff, and that's awesome. Would you not do the same? If they said, we'll tell you what, we're gonna show you, Leslie Ann, we're gonna show you real photos of Mars as well as the moon, but you can't tell anybody. We'll let you see any one of them you want to, as many as you want. We have tons of them. Okay, but you can't tell anybody. Would you or would you not say nothing? That's the key. Because that's something nobody else is going to see. And that's just insane, right? Hellfire Studios said he doesn't want to get outed and seen as not credible. That's how I feel. Well, it's true. Because how many of these scientists have come out with what people think are crazy out-of-the-box ideas about maybe aliens and, just weird stuff like that. And right off the bat, they're going to say, okay, you have no credibility anymore, and basically your peers are throwing you out of your profession, and you're complete trash now. So do you want that, or you want to continue to work with these people and see everything you've never wanted, well, you never could see, but now you could see it all? That's weird, man, Well, yeah, I mean, Tim Houston, he said, can't stand Neil. And I agree with you. Because like I said, he laughs it off. Me as an astrophysicist, if I was an astrophysicist, I'd go, sure, there's a possibility. We just haven't seen it yet. Now, he just, UFOs. He's just, you just want to just punch him right in the mouth. Because you go, are you really going to just act like that? And you're supposed to be this mature astrophysicist, and you've probably seen it all there is to see, and you just think there's no possibility of it? Even though the Pentagon's supposedly showing these, and whether they're true or not. Because they even asked me, they said, well, what do you think about this captain, and I think it was the Air Force, or Army, whatever it was. And they said, well, we have videos of it. He kind of laughed it off. Well, wait a minute. Why would you laugh that off unless somehow you know that it's all BS, at least for here on Earth, meaning it's not extraterrestrial. But nowhere would I just close that idea out that there's no other life out there. I would not do that. So right off the bat, that's why I think he's a tool in that aspect. Yeah, this thing jumped me. Let me go back. You said, your question was, do you own a copy of J.P. Skipper's book? It's 20 years old, but he spends many chapters talking about the layers of obfuscation in the government, going as far as mentioning certain officers in general. No, I have not read it, to be truthful. I've read a little online about him, but I don't have the book. Maybe something I need to look into. Enrico says, someone marry one of the Musk relatives so that we can all know what Elon has seen. If he's willing to divulge that is, right? Leslie Ann, you said, you know me, Chris, I like to challenge, challenge, which is good about the chat, and love it. I love you all. Well, we love you too, Leslie Ann. And I'm glad that you have your own mind, because here's the thing. And we can all disagree or all agree. It doesn't matter to me. You won't be looked at in a different light, because here's the thing. That's just your opinion. That's the way you feel. Maybe your experiences back in the day tells you otherwise. So there's nothing wrong with that. And I like to hear all different aspects and different opinions about what people think. So there's nothing wrong with that. And I respect that with a lot of people, which especially like yourself too. Great for all says, astrophysics who know the truth about Mars and UFOs but won't tell the truth are cowards, in my opinion. Yeah, true, of course. Again, though, they know that their career is pretty much over. All they're going to do is just say the wrong thing, let it slip out. So if he laughs it off, like Neil does, I was going to Leo. If he laughs it off, people who do respect him will go, oh, well, he says it's not true, so it must be a bunch of crap. I don't believe that, because the way I look at it is this. If you're an open-minded physicist, of course, you've got to go by the book too. You know, it just makes sense. But you can't just immediately go and close your mind to the idea of that. Now, I don't think he's completely closed to the idea, but he just doesn't believe that they've seen any yet. Which, again, I don't believe that, because if he's got access to Hubble photos, you know, of course he probably does, and of course the James Webb, you know that he's probably seen some crazy things in these photos. And of course it could be just the regular, you know, the universe itself. You know, you got your, you know, the galaxies and, you know, quasars and all kinds of weird stuff, the normal stuff you'd say. But then you know as well as I do, if he's seen it, he's probably not going to say a word. Because it's basically, like I said, he's basically over, you know. Samuel Gufonian Rockstar said, Chris, thanks, brother, for teaching me so much. Well, to me, it's a two-way street, right? Because a lot of times I get told things and I never knew it. So we all learn from each other. That's the main thing for me. You know, you can't just be like, well, I know it all, so therefore I'm going to preach. No. Because, like I said, if you don't learn something new every day, then you just stop growing, as far as mentally anyway. And, you know, I've been, people would mention things to me that I didn't even know of. And then when I look at it, it just broaden my mind, right? So it's all about that. That's why I said it's like one big family here, where we just analyze certain things, we talk about certain things. Do we think it's BS? Do we think it's cool? Do we think it's true? And nobody gets crapped on. I mean, it's what it's all about. Because there's no, if you don't have firsthand information, then it's all, you know, basically it's hearsay, if you want to call it that. You know, but the way I look at it is like, I don't work for NASA, so I don't know. All we can do is speculate in a lot of aspects, just about all of it. When you see a certain thing like in these pictures, it looks like this. You know, I could be wrong, because you don't know whether it is or not, you know. So either way. Samuel Gufonian Rockstar, he said, Mars, we go live in 5 minutes. Love to you all. Love to you and all. Sorry. All right, man. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you. Maybe we'll jump over there and say what's up and stuff like that. So I appreciate you being here. By the way, we are going to be shutting down as well. It is now 7 o'clock. Oh, you fine folks. And this is the last one I'll leave you with. WikiLeaks document confirms the United States destroyed an alien moon base. And this, and of course, they're talking, here's the document here, of course. And you've heard the story before. This is not new. This was from supposedly the USSR back in the day. Literally blew up one of the United States moon bases. Now, that would not surprise me, because remember we talked about we never stopped going to the moon. So if that's true, and we built the base, is it possible they destroyed it? Do the pieces go together, folks, or is it a bunch of horseshit? We don't know. But if you put the pieces together, it's a good possibility, right? Pat Owens said, Chris, what's your email? I was wanting to send you pics of my galaxy. It's MarsAnomalies at AOL.com. I know it's kind of Stone Age AOL, but I promise you it's not dial-up. Leslie and Warren, thank you very much for your support as well. I do appreciate you. And love the little, I think it's a fox, I guess. Hey. And I do appreciate you. Thank you. Much love to you, by the way. Let me see. So again, another fine hangout, guys, and I look forward to these. I really do. And I get pissed when I can't get here in time and can't do it. And I got to sit there and type up. Sorry, guys, you know, won't be one tonight. Blah 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 blah. And I hate that. So I love and enjoy it, you know, our time with you guys, and I appreciate all the support as always. You guys are awesome. Much love to all of you who support the channel. Of course, everybody does here, because you wouldn't be on the channel. But if you guys haven't, please hit the thumbs up before you take off so that YouTube gets, basically helps get the video out, right? So I appreciate it if you can. But yeah, I mean, you guys will get these pages here. What do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9? Good gracious. So you can see up here it says Public Library, and this is WikiLeaks. But this is old news, even though it was just on the 20th of this month in this year. But it's funny because, first of all, paranormal researcher Scott Waring, you guys have heard him. Stop. He gets more, on these pages and newspapers than anybody I know, and most of it's a bunch of shit. Now, has he brought good things to light? Sure. But I don't know if he's paying these people to put his articles on or what. I don't know. But he gets more time in these newspapers and online stuff than I've seen anybody. It's just insane. But if you read the article, he's wrong in a lot of things too. Like they're talking about that Waring went on to say, I met a man named William Rutledge, which we already know Rutledge was a speaker and everything else. Let me see. What is it here? Where he talks about this, but he says when he he uploaded half a dozen videos of the Apollo 20 mission in which he participated. It was a shared mission with the United States and Russia to the moon near the Del Porte crater. William and the other astronaut recorded their activities on the moon on film, including exploring a scar-shaped ship on Del Porte crater. Inside, they found glass tubes along the walls and tiny skeletons a few centimeters high. So apparently the female pilot was discovered as well. Here's the thing. Like I said, there was a guy on, I forget what the hell I called it, what site it is. He literally made this. He literally has, like, he did it with clay and everything else. He literally shows, he's got the credit. He's the one that does it. He's the one that puts it together and shows you how he, like, piece by piece, he put it together. So why this guy's spewing this bullshit is beyond me. However, I do believe that they never stop going. So I'm not sure about, I'm not saying they haven't been to the, haven't been Mission 20, Apollo 21, 22, 20. They just stopped doing it, period. Because if they dropped off telling the public about any Apollo missions, why name them at all? Think about that a minute. So we stopped it at 17. Okay, that's it, guys. No more funding. At least that's what they told the public. There's no more funding, so therefore there's no more missions. Why go on to go Apollo 18, Apollo 19, Apollo 20? What would be the point? Just keep it hush and go, just send a mission up there and be done. Come on. That's why I don't believe that. I don't believe that part. I do believe they haven't stopped going, and I do believe that there was a base there, and that could have happened. We don't know. White Bear Sky. Oh, come on, man. What do we do now? Well, you can go through the pages I'm going to put up there, and you can actually read these yourself and really check these things out. Ricardo Petrozzi, thank you very much, sir, for your support. As always, you said, well, Stanley, that's another fine hangout you got me into. Good one. Ricardo, thank you, too, as well. You said, Ricardo, you are right. New glasses needed for sure. Oh, no doubt. And again, thanks, James. You said, Chris, let's not forget about the CGI boys' glasses. Yeah, the poor guys need it. Hold on. They need them bad. No, I actually like the idea that their glasses are fogged up and not working well, because even the AI, like I said, is screwing up royally. But if you can go back to the old moon photos where they did it like airbrushing, but did it on over, had a piece of acetate dropped over it, and they can take out whatever they want. And this is the reason why it looks, some areas look crystal clear and some of them look absolutely rubbish. When you look at these things, I mean, you can see it's a dead giveaway. It's cool, but it's frustrating, right? We get that. It's like both sides of it, right? But guys, thank you very much, as always, for being here. I do appreciate you, and I mean that. Much love to everybody there in the chat. It's always interesting, always a good hangout. And we just lost a base. Yeah, there we go. I'll put it like that. Oh, it looks good like that. Yeah, I mean, it's always interesting, man. Always a good time, and I do appreciate just like I said, everything, any kind of support helps me out, helps you guys out. Keep the channel rocking and rolling. I do have a video coming out. Not sure if I'm going to use this particular photo, though, yet. I want to see if there's anything really into it. From first way I seen the photo, it looked pretty interesting, right? And then I was like, not really feeling it. Wasn't seeing a whole lot. So I may just kind of discard that and get, there's another photo that I was looking into as well. So I want to check it out and see if there's anything we can pull out of it. Because sometimes you can't. It's so censored out that even as much as you dig, you can't, because you will destroy a photo. There's only so much you can do to try to enhance and try to pop it. But you can just destroy the photo, and then you will have these weird artifacts that just don't make any sense whatsoever, and you don't want to do that. So, so we're going to try our best to get this one done too. But again, it probably won't be. Like you said, James, you said, Chris, never stop going up, man. You know that, and I do agree with that 100%. I've said that a million times. So, Ricardo says, as always, been an awesome hangout, and thank you, Ricardo, once again for doing the Discord and keep an eye on it for me. I do appreciate you, brother, and keep up the good work. And Ricardo doesn't get enough notoriety, so to speak. He does do a great job up there, as well as the moderator up there. You guys are all awesome, and I appreciate you. Nice little hangout for you guys up there, and everybody can just go back and forth and show their finds and stuff like that, and conversation. So give a round of applause to Ricardo. Appreciate you, man. And I mean that. But like you said, awesome hangout as always. Long Island, New York said, good night all. James Craig says, great hangout tonight, again tonight, from everyone, and great comments like always. Yep, Ricardo deserves it. Round of applause. All right, folks, I'm going to let you all go. I hope everybody has a great weekend. I won't have a great weekend until I'm done with work tomorrow, so that kind of bites it. But got to do what you got to do, right? So I'm going to let everybody go. Have a great weekend. Stay safe, everyone, and we'll see you soon. Peace. By the way, we'll stay on until about 7:20. That's my time. So 20 past the hour, we'll stay on for you folks. You guys can chat it up. And please don't forget to leave a thumbs up. And you can always leave a comment down below the video, too. So I appreciate you all. Much love to you all. We'll see you soon. Peace.